And we're live.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 249 of Fans of Power. The reason I'm holding up is because they told me something for the show, so I'm waiting on doing a different tag. I was like, I don't know what to fucking say, but I'm here with Tyler T-Rex Baker and Nasty Nathan Kennedy. They said something. I was like, I gotta go back and listen to make sure, because I was like, I'm not gonna be, if I copied somebody else by accident of a tagline, I was like, I'm not saying that shit
I don't know what
no
he was
more.
talking about. He's sort of like throwing fragments of sentences. Like, is Joe talking about the aliens in his head or something like that? Who's talking to? Who's making him laugh?
I didn't
shit!
get
I
it
had too
either.
many
I'm
things
like, what's going on?
What you guys
I
said?
thought you meant like people in the chat room. Like, you can already see people in the chat room, like what they're saying and stuff like that. So.
Just something about a tagline at the beginning. So something Nathan mentioned. I was like, I'm gonna have to double check on this, but it's like, yeah, I won't be saying that no more.
Too,
but quickly, let me just say hello
to. Holy son of a bitch! God.
What?
What? What happened?
I was trying to say I thought Joe was done, and as I was talking, Joe was just like,
oh, that might have been a 30-second delay, because I was like, I didn't think I was talking. So there might be that delay that did that.
Okay.
But you go ahead. What was it?
No, I was just like looking back at old episodes. We had done one on Goatman. I'm like, shit. Not that it really matters, but I just thought we had covered new ground that no one gave a shit about not too long ago about Goatman. Looks like we had done it before. No one gave a shit back then either. So.
All right. Speaking of people
lazy
don't give a
bastards
shit,
out there not listening to our back catalog of episodes. You know, you guys just into the new shit.
well, we'll get to
put
some
all
of
this
the
hard
shit
work
back.
into putting up all these episodes. I expect everyone listen to this episode to go back to our back catalog and listen to some of those horseshit episodes when we had our third wheel on.
Start from the beginning. Come on, yeah.
Yeah.
I think what Tyler's alluding to, I posted it in the group. The link's actually down below as well, but I've started to go through and re-upload the audio archive onto Anchor FM. So you guys can click on that. I think I'm up to episode 76 at this point. So you guys can go back and listen to that. I'm going to catch it up to present day and keep it going from there. So everything's just together. You can also go to Podbean as well. So that is an option. But, you know, it's all there. You can scroll through, see that. And then, like Tyler said, check out the third wheel, Brian Ozone. Going back and listening to a couple of them, it's nice to see how the show has evolved. Because Joe sounds completely different to me listening to those older episodes. Because he seems, and I don't want to say like he sounds nervous or anything, but there's just.
I tried to be calm, and I didn't want to like ramble too much, so I always tried this different way I talked in a different tone.
It didn't work for you, Joe.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say Joe was
it didn't.
Fart or something on, while we were recording.
No, I was just trying to always be relaxed. Like, yeah, now I'm just letting it go. But first, real quick, Adam Gabbard, Captain Chronic, Curtis Ackerman, Daniel Carhoonan, DJ Tags, Bedbon, Grimbot, JSP, Jaime Mares, Pac, I'm sorry. I'm saying my own fucking name. Papa Hood 69, Zen Brown, Zentron. Those are everybody that I've seen as participants. Thank you for joining. And God, I just realized I had to try to tuck my hair back. You think Nathan's hair is bad. I mean, I look like
my hair is bad?
I meant, that did sound like a dig at you. I meant, lengthwise, but my hair poofs out and everything, so I'm trying to, I look like a fucking moron, so I tried to tuck it back.
You know what? I think you should embrace it, lose the hood, and just let the hair go, man.
Oh, God. Like I said, I love
at least Jason Voorhees, when he had hair in part 2, he just let it all flow out there, too.
He did for a little bit that he had. Nah, yeah, you're right. No, I agree. He did have that shit. But God, let me think. As for any new topical stuff,
he just pretty much scooted the issue about showing his hair. Like, all right, fuck you guys. I'm not showing any of my skin.
I ain't showing shit. I'm just gonna keep it like as I keep the hood on. It looked like a mess. I mean, it looked like a lunatic.
I don't know. Maybe it's a little blurred, but it looks like you can see it on. I guess it would on the left if you're looking at him on your TV screens. It would be his right, but you can see it like.
I tried to tuck it in because a couple seconds ago I think it was all like this.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, there he goes.
leave it like that the whole show. Just do it.
Yeah, it looks like he has curly
Honestly,
locks.
like Joe and I have the same kind of hair. We really do.
It does. Mine will, yeah, it curls up the longer it gets. So, oh Christ, what the fuck are we even talking about anymore? What's happening? But as for new topical stuff, I think the cool thing that they showed for people that are collecting those Masters of the Universe minis, where they showed some vehicles that, like, I think it's Skeletor with Roton, and then He-Man comes with, now they call it the Ground Ripper, not Road Ripper, because Road Ripper, I guess, is trademarked, which I didn't know that. And I was thinking, I still think, I don't understand, because you know how Masters of the Universe always has the wordplay where they put the dash or hyphen, as you call it, between names. Why couldn't they just have Road and then hyphen Ripper? That is it's still spelled different, but I don't know if you guys knew that, but yeah, the Road Ripper, I guess, apparently has been trademarked, so they're calling it the Ground Ripper.
Sounds about right, but I wonder who has that trademark, because when you think of what first comes to mind is like Hot Wheels, but I'm like, Mattel owns Hot Wheels, so that makes no sense either. I don't know. That's strange.
Probably something to do with Hasbro.
It could be.
I always blame Hasbro because they picked up the name Fisto for that lame character Kit Fisto, so now we were stuck with Battle Fist. Over a no name check Jedi in the shitty prequels.
I was gonna ask you about that actually. I think did Joe? You still okay? Joe's Sky his videos like freezing up this entire time, so I was like, oh, are we gonna lose him? But no, that was one thing I was gonna ask you about, because one of our topics tonight, which I thought that, man, Joe and I are both flustered. I thought I didn't change the episode topic here in the bottom right, but I did. It got me thinking, because we're gonna do the top 3 2000X figures, so I went back and looked at the line, and it is amazing that there weren't as many characters released. There was a shitload of variants, but then I saw the Battle Fist thing, and I was like, well, what's up with that? But now Tyler already answered that for me, so I don't have to ask it later.
Yeah, it was even before we ever got like notification as to like why. I'm like, okay, I think I know where this is going, and I'm like, damn it, it's just like, for Kit Fisto.
And that irritated me, because I was like, Kit Fisto is a 2-word name. Fisto is just a single name. So what's the problem with Fisto? It's like you could call him Fisto, but as a trademarked with Kit Fisto. I was like, but it's still fucking Fisto. You can say Fisto. It's so stupid how they get so sensitive with shit, but I still say hyphen up some stuff or do something different to where it's not spelled exactly the same. But Christ, I guess that doesn't work, because if Kit Fisto and Fisto are somehow the same, then I guess fuck it. I guess you can't get the Road Ripper with a hyphen. It's just now the Ground Ripper, but I'm still calling it the Road Ripper no matter what. I don't get.
Oh, still. I mean, like if we got a good cartoon, it could be called Road Ripper in the cartoon. We couldn't get a toy called the Road Ripper. We have to call the Skid Mark or some shit like that. I don't know what they get.
Hey, it's Skid Mark C.
So some like lame ass name, they think, oh, the kids will love it, not the adults who are really marketing it towards.
Well, Grim2 in the chat said, what if it was Fisto but with a PH?
No, that's lame. It's just as lame. No!
Or, you could just do Fist -O. That could work.
It's like, I'm sorry, they can call it whatever they want. He is always going to be Fisto, and Kit Fisto is just a no-name character in the background of Attack of the Clones. That is it. And
what, like, even Rattler, didn't they call him the General or some shit in toy form?
But they could call him Rattler in the cartoon. So it was I that one was a little bit better, because at least they're giving him the title that he has in the cartoon. But we all know it's Rattler. But man, that snake line was snake bit.
We're going to get into that crazy shit, I guess, right now. First, hello, Rebecca Cox. Thank you for joining us. First time I think she's joining us live.
No, she was here. She was here last week. You missed it.
She was. Well, maybe I said that. I forgot. God damn it.
I saw it because I was like, wait a second. A female presence in the chat room that's not my mother? What is this sorcery?
Yeah, because I was like, I got to watch it. But Rebecca's been making some really great customs. She's been posting online on Facebook. So if you want, just look up her name.
Territory there, huh?
No, she does some great work. She's been doing visions of taking Princess of Power, either steeds or other things, and turning them into humanoid characters. She's been doing a great job, vintage style Princess of Power. So check her out on Facebook. She's doing some great shit. And I've seen it. It's glitched on me too, just to let you know, like sometimes you guys will freeze on me. So it is probably my end. It makes everything look horrible. So hopefully it goes smooth. But we might as well get into our top 3 2000X figures. And looking at this line, there's a great selection of figures, and there's some shit shows up there too. I'm just not acknowledging. I mean, you guys might have it in your top 3, but I'm just not acknowledging any of the variants because I just don't care.
This topic was not about anything like that. It was about even if He-Man and Skeletor made your top 3, that's fine, but no variants. Like
no variants. Yeah, I'm not
going to do one where we just focus on the top 3 shittiest figures. That's a fun discussion to have.
It's weird you said it because I was going to say that would be the next thing because there's a shitload of those.
We're doing that next week. That is what we're going to do. We're going to be shitting all over the variants. Bank it. Next week. That's one of our topics for next week.
What if instead of doing like top 3 shitty variants, what if we took all the variants and just ranked the variants in terms of shittiness?
Oh God, we'd be arguing over who got the top spot though.
We'd be here all day.
Right,
there's a ton.
Maybe not. How about maybe? Well, maybe. All right. Yeah, top 3. We're also.
All right. Well, are we? Because obviously, I mean, not every variant is bad. Right. So maybe we could have like one, like this receives the high spot. This one variant, and then we have our 3 shittiest variants or something like that. Because there were like
the 3 worst variants, and also, I mean, we could even mention the 3 worst figures because there's figures beside variants that are pretty bad. I mean, King is one of them. I can't stand that figure, and that's not even a variant. I hope I didn't lock up because it looks like.
Yeah, you kind of did lock up for a second, but
yeah, it's probably a no-brainer.
Yeah, I don't know if maybe it's a Skype thing, if it's Joe's internet that's going on, but another.
Maybe it's his hair.
Yeah, it's causing interference with everything.
Yeah.
Curls out just for fun. I had to do this to get some of the curl action. Got some curl action.
Man, it's amazing. One of the.
He's quite sassy.
One of the other things as well is stactions are not included in this list either. No. That would
because they're too fucking amazing. Those are great. So yeah, we're not going
to one in that lot. So
yeah, we'll maybe talk about top stactions another time. But yeah, this is just strictly the figures. So you know what? I see you have this set up, Nathan, where you have 3, 2, 1 with our 3rd worst and 2nd worst, and then the top worst. And we see Tyler at the top. So might as well go Tyler, me, then you, starting at number 3, our 3rd worst to the 2nd worst to the worst one.
Wait.
So
why are you saying worst? This is our favorite.
We're doing the best here tonight.
Oh, I'm sorry. I mean best. God damn, you got worst in my mind so much that I was thinking of worst. I'm sorry. Best. Our
Joe, try to commandeer our topics tonight.
This is just gonna be like a complete between Joe freezing up and him not wanting to say certain things, and then me thinking that I forgot to do something that I did do. Like, what is going on? Is there something in the water?
God damn, this is getting bad. All right, well we'll do it's our 3rd favorite, 2nd favorite, and favorite. So Tyler, your 3rd pick.
Joe, just keep pulling out more and more of your hair, exposing more as you're getting nuttier and nuttier.
Yeah, I'm just gonna pull it all over.
It's like the way Joe's hat. It's like he's wearing a black fisherman's hat, like he's the killer from I Know What You Did Last Summer or something like that. Like just from a certain angle, like easy. Yeah. That's what Joe really should be wearing. He ought to be wearing like a fisherman's outfit like that, and then hide his face. That'd be a pretty good look for Joe, I think. Like a toy, like Captain Hook from like Dollar Tree or some shit.
I know what you're doing. I see what you're doing. Go ahead.
My number 3 of the best is Cyclone. I loved his design altogether. Cyclone's my favorite heroic warrior. And I just thought like the Horsemen really amped up a brand new look, but also the same look. And I couldn't have been happier with Cyclone. I remember seeing the reveal that came out with Prince Adam at the same time. And I think Ninja Armor He-Man or one of those variants. But Cyclone, like, holy shit, man! I could not have been happier with Cyclone. The lenticular sticker was on there. The rotating action was awesome. The disc on the back was cool. That you could fold over them. Not that I needed to, but it was just like an extra, weapon, I guess, or something he could hold even too. But I really liked that design. It was, and there were all the redesigns were really good, but Cyclone, because I love him to death. Like, he's definitely my favorite of the heroic warriors, and definitely had to make my top 3.
All right, that's a great choice. Now mine, for being 3rd, I'm one to where I said I'm never usually much for figures in certain preset poses, but I go with Triclops. I mean, he's beautifully designed. I love his look. I love everything about that. Even the pre-post thing. The only down part, as I told you, some of the figures has the popped off head, but I don't give a shit. I put it right back on. But they captured just a beautiful image of him to where when I'm watching the cartoon, I can just picture how he's engaged in battle. I can picture that with the figure, but I absolutely think they nailed it. And of course, just still has, thank God, the turning thing for the eyes. But I thought I would hate it. When I first was getting it, I was thinking, I don't know what I'm going to feel about this figure because, oh, sure, now even the other figures, like I said, some suffer with what they call that hunched over look, but I didn't think he was going to become a favorite, but he was. So my number 3 is it's Triclops. And as you can see, Nathan has these all set because we set them to Nathan, so he knows the order we're doing all this. So
and
there's my number 3.
And I'm going to go ahead and spoil this a little bit for everybody. But Joe and Tyler's top 3 are the same 3 figures, just in different orders.
Are you shitting?
I'm not shitting you.
Oh my God, that's unreal.
So
okay, well,
I
because when he said Cyclone, I was thinking, oh my God, I fucking picked Cyclone for something too. So that's pretty cool.
I got the list, and I'm like,
if we picked the same for top 1, that's gonna be fucking freaky. No. Like I say, because none of this is planned. We didn't.
Oh no, we already didn't do that. Yeah.
Well, yeah. We'll see. So obviously, after I got both of your top 3s, I'm like, well, I need to go and look through the figures again, and I don't want to have any of these 3 that you guys picked because that would be incredibly fucking boring to me. So my number 3 is Whiplash.
Yeah,
I think that this is you can see it here on your screen. To me, this was an update done proper. For most of these other figures, they stayed pretty true to their vintage counterpart, but this one with the head, it's just a completely different look for this character that to me is way more badass than over the vintage figure.
Okay. When I saw the 2-up of Whiplash and Beastman, like I was so impressed by those 2 in particular. Like I remember seeing those pictures in Tome Arts magazine, and I just remember how much they stood out. Like the excitement of seeing these new characters in Skeletor and He-Man, but Whiplash and Beastman. Beastman would have made my top 3 if they hadn't changed his color scheme. That 2-up where it was like the classic bright orange and red.
Oh yeah, they changed up all the colors on those 2-up.
I hated that. I hated the muted colors on Beastman. I hated they did in the cartoon. If Beastman had the colors the Horseman intended to, Beastman would be in my top 3. And
you know what's funny? And that's the thing about Beastman and Whiplash, but especially Beastman, which I was going to bring up. He was one that probably would have made my top 3, but the honest thing is, once those the stactions came out and they had the oversized, and you can see what the Horsemen really were allowed to do in their freedom, I was like, damn, now he doesn't look as imposing next to goddamn Clawful and Tongue Lasher. And the other thing is, I don't know if you guys remember the Chinese variants that I told you about that I had, because they had some He-Man variants, Skeletor variants, and then they had, out of all characters, Cyclone and Prince Adam. But instead of the 6-inch size, they were 8-inch. And I thought by looking on the back, they were going to be doing a Beastman. I was like, holy shit, I'm going to get an 8-inch Beastman figure, and I'm going to put them right with those. But they didn't make them. So that pissed me off, because I was thinking, we're going to get that bad. Because the thing is, they took the basic molds of these and just made them bigger. It's the same goddamn figure, but bigger. So he definitely would have made it then. But yeah, Beastman is beautiful, as is Whiplash. But the stactions spoiled them for me, and that's why neither of those made my top 3. But that is a great choice, Nathan, on Whiplash.
I appreciate that. And I think, too, what inspired most of our list is more about how these figures looked over how they were eventually portrayed in the cartoon. Because to me, that's two.
Yeah, that's another discussion.
Yeah, that's two completely different things. Because obviously, Whiplash probably not, like, character-wise the strongest in the show, but it's my number 3 pick just because it's a huge improvement to me over the vintage figure.
All right, 2 for Tyler. Number 2 for Tyler.
Number 2 for Tyler is Too Bad.
All right.
Yeah. Too Bad's my favorite Evil Warrior. By far, given the best origin of 2000X. Probably the most appreciated update to the character was making them bounty hunters and separate characters, thanks to Larry DeTiller. God bless him. And it's pretty much the original figure, just bulked up a bit more with a new weapon, and I was like, God, it's everything I love. They haven't tampered with it or anything like that, and it was just absolute perfection because Too Bad is the best, and I just love that character so much. Does not get used enough, but I was quite happy with how much he was used, and the Horseman. Fortunately, was able to get Too Bad through, and Mattel didn't go through and throw in some like shitty wristbands or headbands or any other goofy nonsense on the character. Like, no, we get, Then they had like the reverse color one, in the Snake Men. Like, God, what? Who?
Those color variants were just something else, and I say this as a man that does own Disco Skeletor. I don't know why I bought that.
I hate that name for that variant too. It was not nothing. It just makes me mad. It's just some bullshit
honestly,
name that fans like.
I like it.
You know what's weird though, now Nathan, when those variants all first came out, I mean, they were just widely hated. Nobody praised them.
I didn't like them either.
Well, here, no, I got you. It might have grown to you, but what's weird is, first he was widely hated, as was the one that's now titled Blood Skeletor, that other variant color. Well, now years later, people are like, damn, that Disco Skeletor's fucking cool. Everybody's saying, and then they're wanting to make it in like those mini things. They want to do it for the pops. Everything's like, okay, guys, calm down now. It isn't that fucking great, but people apparently started liking it. Like, you did, that's great, cool, you like it. But I was like, I just remember, I was like, every fucking one of these guys has a variant. I'm sick of this. Yeah. It was probably overstock, or I don't know what it was. Like, let's paint Merman like this. Let's paint this guy like. I just got tired of them. But if you like them, that is cool.
I mean, I think there's just something about the orange and purple and black that works better in terms of all the other repaint variants. To me, that one stands at. I don't know. There's something about. I do.
Yeah, the guy was probably on acid or something.
I don't know. It just doesn't bother me.
There's no logic to any. That was the thing that really bothered me. That it was no logic other than just making them chase figures. Like, so, take advantage of which I was like, I'm gonna. Get everything, and I did. I got 2 of everything, if not more than that at times. And
actually, I have it here in the closet. I'll go grab it and I'll show it because Papa.
Oh, sweet Jesus!
Papa Huds has never seen it, so I'll go grab it.
He's never seen Disco Skeletor.
You're not missing anything great by any means. I think people just like really stupid shit that they think is funny, and it's not funny. It's, as Joe would say, white bread humor, where it's just like people like saying, It's like Joe's T-shirts, Icer's Frosted Nuts or Rosie the Roboto, where it's like,
did you say Rosie the Roboto? Oh, sweet Jesus!
Yeah, because you didn't Flintstone as He-Man. I was like, wait for Joe to do that.
And then I did the figure, and he was fucking awesome. But yeah.
There you go.
Oh God, here we go.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, yeah, it's not the best, awesome it's not the best or anything, but I don't know. There's just something about the color. I think if they would have abandoned like this blue, purple, blue. It depends on how you.
That doesn't make you top 3.
If they would have, I think if they would have just made that part black as well, then it wouldn't have been so bad. But it's hilarious because you look at his hands, it's like his normal skin tone. Like, why didn't they bother to paint the hands?
They didn't have a fucking idea when they did that. They just mashed a bunch of colors together. Were being silly about it. They pack it. All right. They had the janitor pick one, the guy who does the windows and cleaning shit. They were just like, you pick a color, you pick color, package it up. That's it. They were fucking horrible, but it is cool that you like it, and some people like it. And more power to all you guys. I love you all.
I just find it insulting. People like companies doing this kind of shitty, repaints, and then wanting full price for a very, very lazy, paint job. I just like. I got no. It's like Super 7 does that a lot with a lot of their reaction figures. They're like, "Oh, look, this figure's clear. You want to pay $15 for it?" No.
Some people like those transparent figures,
but I don't. I
don't either. That part I don't.
Yeah. It's like when they did like this is Movie Man at Arms. Like, no, it's not. You're just grasping at straws here. I get really offended by cheap repaints like that, and I get mad at people who want to buy them because you're just supporting this bullshit logic. But anyway,
I think the only 2 repaint variants I got was that Skeletor, and I got Merman. I know it sucks, but I couldn't find regular Merman anywhere, so I saw that one. I'm like, well, I want a Merman. Fuck. And then I went ahead and.
Well, at least you got him.
Yeah.
No, I mean.
Well, no,
he wasn't as bad as some of the others.
I mean, I was. Yeah, it's.
But those were the only 2. Now I did own some of the other variants, like the fucking. The Samurai, He-Man, and Skeletor. God.
Wow.
Ugh.
Oh, God. Let me get to my number 2, because, like I said, we'll have to talk about the shitty things another time. But number 2 for me, it's Cyclone. And that's, well, my number 1 pick for a hero, because my number 1 ain't going to be a hero.
Yeah.
But I picked Cyclone as well. I remember my sister, and it used to drive me insane. When she'd see Cyclone, she always says, "What's up with the blue He-Man?" And I always remember, I was like, "What are you talking about?" She was like, "That looks like He-Man." I was like, "No, it doesn't." And of course, now these years later, when I look at the vintage Cyclone face, I'm like, fuck, that does kind of look like He-Man.
Yeah.
It's just it irritates me. But seeing as they went in a whole different redesign, he's got his own unique look. I love the different style of the helmet. I like the addition of the one part on the top, even though really for me it didn't add much. It made a new design to him. Plus he still has a spin feature and the lenticular sticker. It's just, he looks badass. It's like, you can't look at that figure and say that sucks. I can't picture anybody looking at it and thinking, what a horrible design. They did a fantastic design. So he definitely was one that when I was waiting, I was like, please let me find this at the store. I used to go on the hunts and half the shit would never be there, and there was one of him. I was hyped up, and yeah, definitely he's my number 2 pick, but my number 1 heroic warrior.
Excellent choice.
So at this point, going off of what we said earlier, you guys can pretty much assume who the number 1 picks for both of these guys are. But anyway,
I just can't believe though either way that we both did that. But go ahead.
Honestly, Joe, that's why once you sent that, I was like, can you put them in order? And you're like, no, I'm like, please do that way. Cause...
Yeah, I was wondering because Nathan was like, give me your 3, picks of your top 3 figures. I was like, but why? We'll just talk about it. Be like, no, give an order. And I was like, okay. I was like, I didn't know what the fuck he was talking about. Now I see why.
In 2 hours.
Yeah. Joe's message was like, oh, let me get back to you in an hour. I'm like, does it take you an hour to figure out your top 3? It seems like a 5-minute
just being
thing.
dramatic.
Yeah.
He's probably just laying in bed farting.
Launching air biscuits.
Yeah, like
airing out his sheets, just kind of waving it so all the the steam can get out.
Oh, Popeye's spicy chicken tenders.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
It's like that scene in Teen Wolf 2 where Chubby's like laying in bed and farting. He just kind of waves the blanket. That's Joe just laying there, farting in bed.
I was working, goddammit. What's up, Air Gaming? But go ahead. What's your number 2? What the fuck's your name, Nathan?
Wow. Jeez, Joe. Are you all right?
I didn't mean to...
I'm just...
I'm fine.
Joe loses his mind tonight. Anyway, my number 2 is Roboto. Because like Tyler was stressing earlier, it takes that original design from vintage and just beefs it up. And I mean, he looks really awesome. And this picture is different too because he also came with chest armor. But I wanted to show this off so you could see all the gears and everything inside. Multiple attachments for the arm, and he even has. It's not also here in the picture either, but it has like has like this pack that goes on his back that has like more. Those are cannons, aren't it? It's like yellow. As no one says anything.
I can't remember. I have to see a picture of it. I can't.
Yeah. But this is I just like the look of this because you look at the line as a whole and you think about when they came out. It fits perfectly with the time period and what they were trying to do. It's a nice looking figure.
It's just like a big damn tank.
Yeah.
He's almost like a RoboCop character. It's like Ed 209. When he comes out and about, but being put together.
Especially
like
wasn't I mean, when he was shooting his ass off, but he seemed like just a battle machine. And it was another figure I wish could have been a little bit bigger, but otherwise, he is one badass looking sucker. And anybody that can moonwalk, when he moonwalked too in the cartoon, that was cool as shit. So, yeah, I love Roboto. Good pick, Nathan.
Thank you. Well, they're already saying in the chat that the only interesting picks are mine. So, hey, there you go.
Piss off Jaime and Curtis and all you fuckers and Pack. Talking about Chick-fil-A's better. All of you piss off.
I mean, Chick-fil-A is better, but I'm gonna should I just go ahead and put each of your number 1s, or do you want to have a drum roll and be like, oh, here's my number 1?
Well, Joe made me want to be that dramatic, but I don't need to be. I don't need the fanfare.
All right. Well, Tyler, go ahead and give us your number 1 pick.
Number 1 is Triclops. He's my favorite of the original Evil Warriors. You see Heroic Warriors there. I was so impressed with his overall design with the kind of medieval I don't know what you call it. It's almost like kind of a Roman-esque. I don't know what you call it, but I just love that addition to the character. I love the various gears. on his visor, and just the he just looked a little bit more tech based, but still looked like a bounty hunter, like a tech based bounty hunter. You know, kind of like how Tuvar would be, and obviously he's turned into a damn scientist in the show. But we're not here talking about the character portrayals. That would probably be in my top 3 worst portrayals. Well, maybe not necessarily. There's probably worse ones, but he looks like the bounty hunter that I always wanted him to be. And I mean, I loved his pose. Like, I know Joe was upset about that, but all these figures had limited posing, but Triclops was ready for sword fighting. Like, that's why I like that, with the hand and one, out like this, sword in the other. I mean, he was so much fun to display, and I remember getting my brother actually into the line pretty hardcore for a brief period, and he was really into Triclops, and he loved that design, and he loved Cyclone too, oddly enough.
It grew on me. Like I said, the pose grew on me. At first, it annoyed me, but then it did just look badass. I seen what they were doing. So, yeah, at first, I just didn't flip. But, yes, you're right. He is in that pose. Like, he's just holding off, ready to fight. It's like they captured it perfectly. No doubt.
Yeah, it just definitely probably my most... Well, it's my number 1. I was really proud of what the Horsemen did and what Mattel allowed them to do with Triclops. I mean, Skeletor and He-Man, I kind of feel like they go without saying. I was really impressed with their designs as well. But Triclops is like, God, he was awesome. Nathan's number 1. I was really thinking about that one, because that one's pretty damn impressive too.
All right, I have to see what the hell he says after I say mine. And remember, everybody in the chat room, we didn't know at least I didn't know what Tyler's was. Tyler didn't know mine. This wasn't like, already set up in advance to where we were trying to say, hey, let's pick the same 3. But somehow we did pick the same fucking 3. But my number 1 is Too Bad. Now, of course, that figure is vintage style. I loved it. I like the kind of gimmick of punching each other. But when I kept thinking, oh man, when this guy comes out in 2000X, I pray he isn't in that pose, because I got a kick out of the gimmick as a kid, but you were stuck with that pose, and it became kind of silly after a while. It annoyed me. This one, they definitely changed it up. Their heads are spaced a little bit better, but I like the angular way of how Badger's going down and Tuvar is more up. I like that. It shows just different kind of heights to them both as they were merged, and then they don't have to have the awkward punch pose. But, I mean, it just looks fucking badass. That was the other thing. It's like, you cannot, again, look at this and think that isn't a badass-looking figure. But I liked all the details in it, the real menacing look in their face. I mean, especially in Badger's face. But, yes, I would have loved to seen separate figures of them at some point, which never happened, but that's okay. But, yeah, he's my number 1 pick on the Evil Warriors, because as for at least not being a staction for those regular 2000X figures, yeah, he's awesome. So that's my pick. Too Bad.
It's funny looking at it here on the screen now, the way I have it. And it's just like, because Tyler sent me his list immediately, and Joe, when you sent me mine, my initial reaction was just, fuck. I mean, it's awesome that you guys were thinking the same, but I was like, well, in terms of what I wanted to do visually on the show to show, like, I'm like, fuck. This is going to be literally like, oh, man.
I just like that it's a different order, but it shows that we always have a similar wavelength, but still somewhat different, ways we think, but almost to a common ground. It's just a quick little side note, but like I said, that's why years ago when I was doing Global Masters, and then when Tyler and I first started talking, I was like, I got to get this guy on the fucking show, because I just seen his passion was like mine, and almost it's just different types of levels of things that we, I guess, is our forte of what we really are passionate about, but we love Masters equally all the same. And it just shows, and I just think that's cool as shit. It's bizarre. Yeah. I can't believe that we picked the same 3, but a different order.
The funny thing that people always assume that, like, I really know Joe. I don't. I haven't seen his face. I don't know what he really looks like under that mask. Like, it's just getting to know him doing these shows, so it's strange. But I would go ahead and get to my number 1 pick, which is Trapjaw. It takes, once again, I mean, look at I think the thing that I enjoy the most about this figure is just, like, the small details. Like, the new updated, like, the bulkiness of his weapon, how his head just has more of a skull. Like, there's just barely anything there. And then you got, like, the stitching. Like, This dude,
I like this dude.
That was
yeah,
an excellent touch to that. Yeah. God, it was
he
awesome.
he's like Frankenstein's monster over here, just put together by different part. Like he's been through some shit. I love this figure a lot, and this topic, I have my 2000X figures, and they're down in a box like in the closet. But I'm gonna go dig those out, and I won an auction for like a shitload of Stactions. So I'm gonna find a place in here to display all of that, because I say what you would about the cartoon, but I think I have a connection to this line the most because it's the thing that really got me back into collecting figures again, because these started coming out in 2002. Cool. Tyler and I are fresh out of high school. Like, he's super excited about it, and it's just going on the hunts with him. And I'm like, well, I have all these other figures. Like, I need to. So I started going in my room and just like taking other shit down. I'm like, I'm gonna put my Ninja Turtles here. I'm gonna start doing this. So because of this line, like, I'm still collecting action figures, period, to this day.
I like that.
So I always have a special place in my heart, even if I already trailed off by the time the Snake Men and all the repaints and all that were really starting to flood the market, and I'd already quit watching the cartoon. Tyler kept trekking on, but this always stuck with me. Just the good memories involved. But Trapjaw, that's because someone, I think it was Jaime, was like, what, no Trapjaw or Merman? And then people thought I was going to pick Evil Lynn, which I also think is a very good looking figure in the line as well.
She does, yeah. Evil Lynn is a great looking figure. I mean, all the original characters that are not Barons, they all look good. There's honestly, and we know the Snake Men were made by somebody else, some asshole. All the others, there's not a bad one. Tila, Man-at-Arms, Stratos, Merman.
Just the damn boot thing killed me. I hated the fucking boot, but that was because it was the playset that they had to have that electronic chip for them to interact with Castle Grayskull.
When I got that Grayskull and tried that gimmick, I'm like, this is so, like...
It was horrible. I remember I was like, oh, that's great. I was like, who cares? And because of that, we got the shitty-ass boot thing for Tila, Evelyn, and I couldn't even remember if I don't know if She-Ra got the boot thing. I have She-Ra in back of me, but I couldn't remember if she had the goddamn boot thing. I'm afraid to turn around because I'll probably knock the tablet off. That's the only reason I turn around. But I do like your choice of number one, Nathan. And that was the thing is, I remember in the cartoon, I like that. Again, if people are fans of him in the cartoon or even the comics of taking out his attachments and putting them on, that's cool. But I like the thought of how it could just come in and out. He can make whatever attachment pop in and out without having them just hanging or putting them on and being in a position where, oh, fuck, I don't have this, or somebody stops them. So, but that is a great number one. Yeah, definitely. So, well, that's a cool thing to look at. That picture right there. It's bizarre, me and Tyler, and I like yours, Nathan. So, yeah, you kept it fresh. Because you're right. If you were to say, I think T3 did. But could you imagine if you didn't?
When we first decided to go with this topic, in my head, for my list, I was like, it's either going to have Trapjaw or Triclops. I'm not going to put both of them in there, because to me, it would feel a little redundant. But I was like, all right, well, once you guys picked Triclops, I was like, well, Trapjaw was probably the way to go from the beginning. It's amazing that you guys just thought exactly the same. And I'm like, well, I should change it up a little bit. But Cyclone wouldn't be in my top three. Too Bad would be up there. I would even say like an honorable mention. It's like on the outskirts of making its way in there. But Cyclone wouldn't... I've never really liked Cyclone a whole lot. I mean, like, he's fine, but he's just kind of, I don't know, he's kind of boring to me. In terms of, when you look at it figure-wise, he's kind of boring to me.
Oh, see, that's one of the coolest things is his color scheme alone, with the blue, the red, and the yellow. I always stuck out to me as a kid, and the radar on his chest, it just made him such a striking character to me as a child. Like I just, played with him.
It was a cool addition, because especially in the 80s, there was that lenticular craze of everything had
a... It just looked so cool with the color scheme. Like,
it fit him.
That sticker, I would just sit there and just was in awe of just not even playing with him, just like looking at the guy, and it was just so striking. That's why it's shocking to hear Nathan say that, and I mean that's okay for him to say that.
Those colors just don't because those colors just don't pop to me. I don't guess. I've never really liked yellow too much. I think that extends to my hatred of Hulk Hogan.
Not a favorite color of mine, but that's the thing I love about this line is they pretty much make every color I look at Clawful's, like, he's got red and tan. And Man at Arms is orange and green. And Moss Man is brown and green, dark green. And I mean, everyone's got a very unique color scheme. And but I will say, if Cyclone didn't have the sticker, it probably wouldn't pop as much to me. Having that sticker was like a nice color break in it because of the various colors in that radar that he has on his chest. It was just such a wonderful little simple gimmick that I just thought the world of when I saw it, when I got that at Hill's department store. Oh,
man, that's where I got Sega Master System. I got Sega Master System stuff there. I got He-Man stuff. That's where I got the Meteorbs, was Hill's. Good times. Did I mention that's where I got? No, I won't do that. Do it at the end.
Is that where he got that Spider-Man jacket from? That he won that video game contest or whatever?
I know. That would be every Friday. Hills had the best chill.
Oh no, yeah, dude. Go ahead. If no one has heard Joe's thrifty tips when it comes to like chili, go ahead and tell them what you do.
Well, I'm just going to let you guys know that out of all the restaurants in the entire city that I knew of, Hills had the best chili in the world. Now, they put it on their chili dogs, but they'd also put it on their chips. And you could have chips and chili cheese, and they just loaded it all up there at Hills. It was the best. It's not like the one I did at the gas station where I told you that thrifty tip. But, well, anyways, first let me just say Hills had the best chili cheese. I'd go there for supper on Fridays. Me and my pop go there and get chili cheese chips for supper.
Hills had the best popcorn, too. Like, it just...
Damn right.
All sorts of good stuff. They did.
Hills was by far the best department store ever. I hate that Walmart came around and just like killed everything until Target started resurging. But Hills, easily the best, especially like because they had the icy machine and they would have the different themed cups. So it would be like, it's baseball season. You can get any cup from any team that you want. And I'm like, I gotta have them all. I love that story.
And they catch you going out, too. That's the thing. As you were leaving, it was almost there as an exit, so then you wanted to sidetrack over there to get the food or sit down in the little court over there. But one more quick tip, and Zen Brown, here we go. I'm going to say one more. This is at the gas stations. Most gas stations, you can go and they have a bag of, just tortilla chips. And then it says you have to pay for the tortilla chips and the chili cheese, but it says take as much chili cheese and chili and cheese as you want. Now, most people would open up the bag, put the bag of chips in there, and then squirt on the chili and cheese and then close it. But then that sogs up the chip, and then you're not getting as much. This is what you do. You just take the container that they give you, squirt as much chili and cheese as you want. You could have it all the way up high, close it, and then when you take it home, open up the bag of chips and dip it in there. And plus, you have chili and cheese to eat, and bam, you save money. And you get a lot more for your buck.
Oh, Joe!
I can't imagine how many like memorable shits Joe had as a kid, like going to all these places.
As a kid, I still do this.
Joe's creating his own colon blow.
As a kid, I still do it. My gas station over here still has it. I should show you guys sometime. I should bring it home and take a picture of my mountain.
Going to the convenience store in Beavis and Butthead, where like the food is all rotten in there. It's like, hey, how much for these nachos? Well, I'm just gonna throw them out. Name your price. 10 cents. You got a deal.
I would say if Joe actually had a cell phone, that he should just go in there and film this entire process.
Well, I can use this tablet. Well, I can't do the process.
Can you imagine? Yeah. Joe walking in there with like a fucking 7-inch tablet. It's like, all right, guys, and this is what you do with the chip. They're gonna kick you out, man.
No, Nathan, you know what's funny is when I go to the stores and I use the coupons, like when I'm buying stuff, I bring out the big old tablet that I have. Like, God, I've seen them like, God, that's big, because they're used to just like a little cell phone, and I'm bringing out the giant tablet. So they do give me shit about that. And Curtis, my thrifty tips is how I can buy stuff. So, because Curtis seen me buy something recently, but that's because I have thrifty. But yeah, I bring out that big ass thing. It's usually in my coat
they
pocket.
They probably think you're high or something. They're like, what is this motherfucker doing?
Who moved the rock?
He probably just pulls it out of his sweatpants too. Just like,
Well,
yeah. I bet Joe's probably wearing like mustard stained like gray sweatpants or something like that, with like really big baggy, sports socks with the stripes on, but they're hanging down around the bottom of his shoe because he's had them for so long and they're stretched out. And
well, I hate it when it is around when it's summertime or when it's warm, because then when I have to take that tablet, I do have to try to stick it in my back pocket, and it's all the way up because it can't go all the way down into your pants because the thing is so fucking giant. But in wintertime, I can just put it in a
How does that even fit in pant pockets? Are you wearing like Jinkos or something?
It barely does. Well, that's what I mean. It's it's just like it barely gets into the back pocket. I'm just having it, and then I try to put my shirt over. I have a long shirt where I put it over, so it's
So it
holding
looks like you're
down.
shoplifting almost.
Almost. Yeah, I guess it would look like I was shoplifting, but at least in winter, you can pop it right in your coat, and you're good to go.
They probably
Damn,
think he's about to like pull a gun or something too.
I know, yeah, he's pulling his jacket out. I was like, I have, something for you to see. And he,
like, it is. It's so big though when I pull it out.
I got coupons for potted meat. No.
You know what's even worse?
they've
Nathan
already
just
like tasered him, taking a cattle prod to his ass, and
But you know what's
Joe's
bad?
wearing his mask, but foam's coming out of the mouth of the modular mask. And
It's so big though that they can't even scan the coupon when I'm using coupons at places. They say, "Can you pull that back?" Because when they try to scan it, because the screen's so big, it doesn't.
I see. I'm thinking you're going through like self checkout, and the attendant there is just watching you. So you're going through the line, and that poor attendant has to like try to like move the scanner back and forth just to hit the barcode on your tablet. Oh, Joe.
When they can't get it, when they go all the way back, then they just look and they have to type in the number because they can't.
I know what he's doing. He's doing this deliberately because it's such a pain in the ass to get it. Sir, just take the food and get out. They just assume let him have it and not deal with these shenanigans of holding up the line and using outdated technology. I went for Joe to like walk in from coupons. He printed from like
it's not that it's outdated technology. It's
I know it's not, but it's just like Joe. Like I'm surprised Joe's like carrying like a full like desktop computer in there.
Take your tablet. Get the hell out of here.
Oh Christ! So there's the side rant on a food story. Now we could talk
I
about.
want to go back and talk about Hills at some point.
Yeah,
man,
we should.
We'll do that.
We should. Someone in the chat room is like, "Is Hills like Target?" Sort of, but like the toy department was just always stocked.
Unreal.
Always stocked.
Yeah.
Like no.
I will say Target, like, because for a while, like they had their little food counter with popcorn and stuff, and they sell ices and stuff. So for a while I did think that was like kind of our modern Target. It just lacked the charm and the variety. But also the toy aisles in every department store, wherever they're at now, they all suck balls because they're barely stocked. There's only one aisle devoted to action figures, and the rest of it's the baby toys and all this other shit. Whereas back in the day, Hills would have at least 2 full aisles of action figures, and you get your race cars and your Hot Wheels and your board games, and you get the girls stuff. But it was, or they had like spinner racks, which I remember our Hills, the one me and Nathan went to, had a spinner rack of He-Man figures. And that's how I bought a lot of my He-Man figures back in the day, was off a spinner rack.
I don't remember that.
Yeah,
and I don't know how often they had it at that one, but that's how I got Rio Blast. That's how I remember getting some of the Snake Man was off this kind of spinning rack on the end of one of the aisles. I think that's where I got Cyclone also. I feel like I got a lot of the 86 wave off those spinner rack, or off that one spinner rack.
Do you remember how much they were at the time?
Probably would have been like
$2.99, $3.99.
I don't think they were on clearance or anything like that. So I think they were probably regular price back then, because this would have been.
Well,
88.
I'll ask that, Joe. How much were Master Universe figures back, like prime?
They would vary from $4.99 to $7.99 on some of the deluxe figures. And when you talk about spinner rack, we didn't have that, but I remember this vividly going into my Hills. I was walking in the Masters of the Universe section, and I seen all the stuff I had. And right when I got towards the end, before the aisle ended, that's where the media orbs were. I was like, what the fuck is this? And I just looked, I was like, oh my God, there's 10 of these fucking things. And each of them was $3.97. I still have all the tops of the card backs with that sticker on them too. But yeah, the Meteor was $3.97. So
that was,
goddamn, those were good times.
That was always a good feeling, whether it's like walking down there and seeing new shit on the end, or like flipping through the stuff you already got, and you get to like the back right there against the wall, and it's something brand new that you knew. Either you knew or you didn't know was coming out, and you see it, and you're just like, "Oh man, holy shit!"
And you didn't know half the time. That's the thing. Yeah, and I do too. See, that's the thing that I know. I try to be nostalgic about saying I don't want to look and watch movie trailers, or I don't know, want to know this. But you're eventually going to have to see something, because it's a day and age. That's how it is. You can't live without seeing something from the internet. But back in our day, you didn't have all this fucking information right in front of you. You literally just had to walk in the store and say, man, I hope there's new He-Man stuff. I hope there's new Transformers or whatever you're wanting. And when you'd see it, you'd lose your shit. Like when I went into a hobby store in our Northtown Mall, I got $50 for my birthday back then. I felt like I was rich. I was freaking out. And I went in that hobby store, and that's when they had the wave where Scareglow, King Randor, Sorceress, Ninja. I'm like, what in the fuck are all these figures? When I seen all those and I was able to buy every one up, that feeling is something that we'll never be able to have again, because it was pure just catching off guard excitement. It was a shocker. Now the stuff that's coming, and now we gotta be like, oh wait, and like in December or January we're supposed to get some new figures, and you hope you see them, but either way you have a heads up.
And
we didn't have a heads up back
You won't, because here's a little side story as well. Went into Walmart yesterday, and they have their pallets laid out because they're about to restock, because this was like late. This was probably about 7:30. Go in there, see the box. It says Masters of the WWE Universe. I'm like, I want the Jake Roberts from that line, because I think once you take his face, he looks pretty cool. Someone had already went through him, because I saw Bray Wyatt and Seth Rollins on the peg. I'm like, great, someone already got Jake the Snake and Mr. T, so that sucks. I'm like, if I would have been here 10 minutes earlier, I probably would have snagged them, because nothing else had been taken from that pallet. Nothing else had been opened, but that box was open, so I assumed the person just came by, opened it, took the figures they wanted, and bolted out of there. But yeah, it's toy collecting is not like it used to be.
Yeah, it was definitely different back then. Quick, I want to say two things. One, we're going to kick G-Funny G-Funny Mo, I'm not pronouncing that word, out of the fucking chat room, because he said the Meteorbs, not even worth the $3.97. He's out of here. God damn it. And then, what was that? Somebody was picking on the fucking Energy Zoids, too. They said what was worse, Meteorbs or the Warriors without legs, and Jaime said the spinny guys. That's it. These fuckers are gone, god damn it. Jaime, G-Funny, I thought you guys were good, pricks. I love you guys. You're both great. But
I got no patience for anybody who wants to knock anything from the vintage line. Like, it's all like,
I give you shit.
All be beaten with shovels or castrated with rusty fishing hooks. All of you.
Oh Christ, man, we could be here all day, literally talking about fucking hills and shit like that, because it was fun.
And that's the thing. Like I mean, there's memories for every store, but I feel like Hills is something like all of us unanimously have got at least one He-Man memory. That's where I got discovered like the new Adventures of He-Man toys was at our Hills. It was a 2-pack with He-Man and Skeletor in it. It was just.
What's funny? I have zero memories of Toys R Us as a kid for He-Man, because
I have actually a couple of vivid ones on that.
And we'll save that maybe for next week, because really we can get into those. But I have zero, because first it was so far away. But I have none. I have more Kmart stuff, and there was a place called Children's Palace. Children's Palace is where I got the video games. But yeah, I forgot there was some other shit. But it was definitely Kmart, and it was definitely Hills for the He-Man stuff. But
yeah, Kmart. I had a few He-Man memories. That's where I discovered He-Man was at Kmart. That's maybe that's something we could go into more detail next week too. Like the department store memories of where we got He-Man stuff and.
Yeah. You can do that.
I mean, that would be more for you guys, because the only new He-Man stuff that I ever got was some of the new adventure stuff from Roses back in the day.
Yeah, that's another good one.
Everything else, there was no other.
You poor kid.
I mean, by the time like He-Man was there, but most of that stuff for me was like hand-me-down like toys that I got, because some of the other it's like on my mom's side. We'll get into it next week. We'll talk about that more next week.
Yeah,
but because I think we all have fond memories of Roses, Kmart, Hills, KB Toys. I got He-Man toys at KB also at least one time. But I kind of feel like that's something all three of us can share, like our memories of seeing, we remember seeing this item on the top shelf, and no, it's too expensive. I'm not getting that shit for you. And then you get a slap in the face for even contemplating it or something like that. But the department store memories of seeing items you couldn't afford, or seeing things for the first time. Like, I just think that's I know we have discussed like a long time ago or like something like that, but Nathan wasn't on here at the time too, and I just kind of feel like, everyone listening to this can all relate to that at some point. That going into that store and Toys R Us especially too, man. God, that's the one time I saw Beastman in the store, and I passed him over for Jackalman from Thundercats. We got halfway to the home, and I was sitting in the car like,
buyer's
oh
remorse. God. You fucked up. You
I
fucked up.
I was sitting in the back seat with Jackalman, like, what have I done? And I had never owned Beastman in my entire childhood. Oh, I couldn't believe it. And it was like a big wall end cap of He-Man figures. I'd never seen anything like that in my life. And my mom and dad pulled that Beastman for me. And like, of course, that everything else. You got to hurry up. You got to make a decision. You know, putting all the pressure on the child, but the parents get to shop all they want. Bullshit.
We'll next week will be fun. Yeah, definitely. So now we'll get into the ultimate battleground before we get to all these people in the chat room. See how it was nice.
Did they have anything interesting to say, or are they just pissing and shitting all in the vintage line?
No, I mean,
they're talking about some of their memories,
and they really dug my
right.
picks. They said I had a good eye for aesthetics.
Horrible taste.
Oh, so they've been sucking on Nathan's balls this evening. Is that what it is? Huh?
Oh yeah, the whole time it was all Nathan, this and that, bunch of kiss ass pricks.
Well, you know.
Sorry.
They're
You
a
guys
bunch
are
of
good
Gerald
guys.
Briscoes to his Vince McMahon. Well, knock your socks off. Don't mess with those. Don't mess.
Oh
with
yeah, rest in peace, Pat Patterson.
Pat Patterson, yeah.
Oh,
and rest
yeah.
in peace,
And Tiny Lister, man. We lost Zeus.
Yeah, damn it.
Zeus,
Damn.
son of a bitch.
I couldn't believe that. And was it
62
the
years old, man. Too damn
coronavirus or
young.
something?
Well,
I couldn't remember if he said if it was that or...
I mean, no one knows for sure exactly, but he tested positive for COVID like a month ago or a few months ago, and then he was thinking that he was feeling bad again, and they were like, go get tested, and they said that he was like afraid to go and do it. So I don't know if it was that, if it was something else. You never know, but I know that
The first wrestler that scared me, just a quick little side rant, because I remember when No Holds Barred came out, you know, and of course they're hyping it up and all that stuff, and then when he appeared in the wrestling ring, I was like, oh my God, Zeus is here. And I remember, he like scared the shit out of me. It's like, oh, Hogan can't stop him. That's when I bought into wrestling, believing every bit of it. And goddamn, yeah, it's so sad to see that he passed away, because God, I loved him as Zeus and Debo, and damn, yeah, what a shame. What a shame.
He was like, regardless of what people say, I know he's like legendary with like wrestle crap and stuff like that, but he was. I mean, we're still talking about because he was such a memorable villain for Hogan. Like, say what you want about it, but God, none of us have ever forgotten.
Yeah, I'll probably watch No Holds Barred tonight, even though Emily will probably be severely disappointed. But I gotta. Stan Hansen, Tiny Whiner.
Oh God, yeah.
Like, there's just so much.
Tiny
There's
Whiner.
just so much going on in that movie, but.
All right. Well, Ultimate Battleground, my first, of course, experience with this was getting it with the Eternia playset. And, of course, things that are happening here are things they want you to kind of do, want you to do with the playset. And, I mean, it's not a horribly drawn mini comic, thank God. And it's...
Oh, hell no.
Yeah, so like I said, because sometimes you get something where it's a shit show, kind of crazy dialogue or story that's kind of weird. Like, there's certain things that, back then, even I would irritate me about, like, the earthquake. Like, I was always an ass about saying, why are they calling it an earthquake when it's on Eternia? Shouldn't it be an Eternia quake? And if this is the first earthquake that they've ever had, how does everybody know what a fucking earthquake is if they've never had it? So I was a dick about that. But otherwise, it was fun. I like seeing how King his Skeletor raising up the three towers, but of course how they secretly want to use the power against the other as they're thinking this. And then the trap that King his is trying to put Skeletor into. It's a fun story. Like I said, it's not one that's terrible to read. It's not one that's terrible to look at. It's not one of my top 5, but it's still one of my favorites because there's a lot of fond memories of just all the stuff. As you're seeing, as we're talking, we're seeing everything that they're doing along with this. I remember then, after reading about the comic, like, oh my God, if they can go into Central Town and absorb that power, that's how they charge, the weapons at the top. So I used to do that when I'd act that out as a kid. So I always liked this mini comic. I know many people didn't have it because it was just with Eternia, and with Tyler being lucky with some kids. Didn't you have this with your Mosquito Minon card, if I'm not mistaken?
No. The Mosquito that I got in the late 90s had his mini comic, and I was not aware of this at all. Like this mini, I didn't even know the Three Towers existed until I saw it on the Adam Tyner website back in the mid 90s.
Okay. I assumed that you had it with both your Mosquitoes because you do have one carded, right? Oh, but you do have one card. You do have a carded Mosquito with this now, don't you? with
No,
that mini
no.
comic? Oh, I always thought
What
you
the hell are
did.
you
I thought
talking
you had
about?
I really thought you had a carded figure that had.
I had bought a bunch of $20 He-Man figures from the last two waves from a toy store in New Jersey, and the one that the Mosquito that I had gotten, I opened it, and that was my first time like even seeing Mosquito pretty
Oh,
much for that first time.
okay.
And he had the inner Buzzsaw Hordak mini comic. So
Oh, okay.
no, but I would have shit my pants if I'd gotten this because I love this mini comic. It's beautifully drawn. Like I like the simple story of bringing in the three towers. I was always kind of like intrigued by the idea of like this in this section of a journey between Snake Mountain and Castle Grayskull. Even though logically, like with kind of what we come to expect, like Grayskull's a great distance away from Snake Mountain, but it's just kind of fun, like kind of setting because this is all toy based, so you just kind of feel like,
Sure.
but if you set up Central Tower or the three towers, you get Grayskull over here, Snake Mountain's over here because it's closer to the Viper Tower. It's just kind of an interesting play dynamic that they kind of set up in the mini comic itself, and the way the action features are depicted, like the Grayskull Tower looks a lot bigger. Well, hell, the Viper Tower has got all this technology and stuff in there, and you can't even fit a figure in the Viper Tower. But using this as a template for your imagination, that's why I liked it so much, because I think about how I would have used the three towers had I had them as a kid, and looking at this, just
And that's
oh
how
my
I did
God,
it. They made you want to do that because I still have my set right over here to the side. That's how it's set up to where I have Castle Grayskull, and they always had those kind of bridges and connectors to bring everything together. Because, like you said, sure, in kind of like the logic of the story, kind of I guess don't make sense. They had to do it for this, but we see what they were going at, and plus that's how you would want to do it as a kid. And mine are still set up like this. The one thing that I guess, and it was just color errors. I think when they showed Tongue Lasher and Rattler at one time, one was green, one was purple. They were kind of flip flopping, screwing colors up. But that's neither here nor there. It's just a little color error. It's no big deal. But you do get to find out about at least the story of these towers, and we've seen that in some of the other books and comics as well. They started talking a little bit about the logics of these things, and I think they even had a story in the UK. I think it was one of the UK stories where they talked about the three towers, and I think that one, there was one of the stories in particular that had Ninjor and Scareglow in it. So it was kind of a cool. I thought one time I tried to. I don't know if we talked about that, Tyler, or maybe we just touched on that story from the UK, but it was.
I remember we touched on some story. I think we did. We did do that particular story. I think that because I do remember doing that. I don't remember what episode it was, but we did discuss that one. Yeah.
Yeah. But this one, this only enhanced, like I said, the play with the set. That's what was perfect about it. It is, again, a great story, but it just made you have even more fun with the play set, especially showing almost all the features of everything. Not all of them, but they damn near did it close. Because I can't remember who asked me, who one time wanted to see the inside of Viper Tower. Was that you, Tyler? That was one of what it looked like on the inside of Viper Tower a long time?
Because nobody had provided any back shots of Central Tower or any of it, and I just wanted to see what any of it looked like, because I knew that you could do stuff behind Central Tower. I just didn't know what. I knew there was an elevator, but that's really about it. And I was just fascinated, like, oh, what does it look like? And I eventually have seen shots of it, like on Google, and other people who've got collections will share pictures of it, and it's just fascinating. Like some people might say, "Well, there's not much here. You can't do anything."
Oh, there was a lot to that set, especially Central Tower. But beyond the whole monorail system, the features with Central Tower, the little trapdoor that they had for Grayskull Tower, and yes, Viper Tower was the one that a lot of people said, was there stuff inside? It's like, no, just the thing where you turn to have the snake turn as it's viewing, like how it was done in this mini comic. That's what it was supposed to be used for. But otherwise, the main feature of it was Central Tower, the monorail system, and of course even that moat. I used to fill up my moat with all slime, and I'd have like the figures like they were getting stuck in there as they were crossing and getting caught. So it was a fun set. But yeah, this Nathan, I know we haven't let you yak yet, but what was your thoughts on this mini comic, at least when you read it?
Well, I feel like I'm just going to be regurgitating a lot. For me, it's refreshing to see other characters extend our Rio Blast, Snout Spout. It's nice that even if they're not, I mean, Snout Spout does a little bit, which is kind of hilarious to me. It's like, oh, hey, I'm here to save you. But I like the art in this. I know you were saying, Joe, earlier about the color issues with Rattler and Tongue Light, but I enjoy the art in this a lot. It shows off everything you can do, or most of what you can do with the playset. So I'm already just repeating what you guys have already said. That's what makes it fun, because even as a young kid, if you can't read all this text, you can see everything that's happening, and you can translate that into your own playtime. And I can do this. Like, that had to have been pretty awesome to have that set and just really start figuring out all those things for the first time.
I never played with anything that much. I mean, besides my penis, I've never played with anything that much in my life. I mean, God.
Well,
I mean,
that's fair.
It was not.
I like how you just like nonchalantly throw that out there. Oh yeah, it's like
Joe's a proud man. You know?
Yeah, it is. No shame.
Next week, top
he's always got it flopped out in his hand.
Next week, top 3 things that we played with more than our penises. Joe's number one attorney of playset.
Yeah.
Oh God, Grim! He's like, what? But no, I did this
sitting behind Central Tower, like flopping the bishop as he's sitting and moving the elevator up and down.
See what I can add to the moat. But no, it was.
It's all natural cream.
Oh God.
No, but it was an awesome place.
Joe's first custom.
This is where I used to hide my money from my brother, though, because I had to like pack rat and hide things I was afraid he was going to steal. So I've told that story before. If you guys heard
Wait, when did you ever tell that story before?
I thought I did, but I guess I didn't.
Is it older brother?
I've heard it before.
Yeah, an older brother. Yeah, and Tyler remembers this. This was a long time ago, but anytime I got any kind of paper money, I would have to hide it somewhere where he wouldn't see it, because if it was like in the dresser drawer or under the mattress, anybody's gonna look there. But he didn't know about Central Towers in the front where the gargoyle moves to the side. And I used to fold up, like if I got a $5 bill or a $10 bill, fold it as much as I could, boom, and turn it. And that's where I hid my money. So Central Tower was like a hidden bank place for me. Awesome.
What was he, when he would actually steal your money, what was he using it for?
Oh, God. I mean, he just, like I said, he was just older than me, and he'd probably use it for anything. Cigarettes or just whatever the hell he had to do is just any time to steal something from somebody. So I had to hide my money. So that's why everything I do, I tried to treasure, and I'd pack rat. I was always thinking something was going to get stolen. My dad always, told him, don't you ever touch his figures. And that's why my figures were up on a shelf. And I used to cherish them also because, like I said, beyond knowing if I lost it, that's it. I couldn't get another. I was scared he was going to blow them up like he did with other stuff, with firecrackers and shit that he used to do as a kid. So, yeah, this has become a confession about this.
So your brother was like Sid from Toy Story.
Yeah.
Yeah, just nobody I could really
wait,
appreciate.
This is the part where Joe's like, I've never watched Toy Story.
No, I've seen Toy Story. I might not have watched or had the other.
It was playing like in the Kmart somewhere in the background, and that's about as far as Joe ever got.
I don't know. I got some chili cheese and went and played with my penis.
Wait a second, Nathan, stop! I just noticed. What the fuck did you put down there on that screen?
What are you talking about?
You put a box.
What are you talking about?
I just seen what you put. Stratos grabbing me as Modulok.
That's a Grimm 2 original piece of art there, Joe.
Yeah, thanks, Grim, you shit. I just noticed that. Thanks. So, back to you, Tyler, if you can talk a little bit more about this before we get to the chat room and any questions they have, because this was going on.
Like Photoshop Joe in like a porno theater or something like that with his mask on,
covered in chili.
With his long hair, it kind of makes you think of how Pee Wee Herman was caught, with his long hair. Joe's like so loved by all these people on the internet, and he was caught flopping the bishop in a porno theater.
I remember when that happened, and my parents were like, "You're never watching that show again." I was like, "Bullshit! I love Pee Wee." And then when he,
I was not told that. I was unfortunately because they knew I loved the show so much. I was encouraged to like my dad even say, "Hey, we want to go rent Pee Wee's Big Adventure." So it wasn't frowned upon.
It's kind of crazy though when you think about it, because like for porn theaters to still have been around, this was like the early '90s.
Mm-hmm.
I maybe there still are some. I wouldn't know. I've never been.
Well, this was out in California too when it happened.
Yeah. I don't
know. But even like knowing the behind the scenes of what happened there,
like who cares?
Yeah, who cares? Like
He was.
Oddly enough, like it's Pee Wee Herman, like Paul Rubens. Like I'm kind of surprised, but maybe that's just what he was into.
He wasn't hurting anybody.
No, and it's in a porn theater. What the hell do you expect people to be doing in a porn theater?
I mean,
just for police trying to stake the place out.
Maybe there are some that go and would actually just enjoy the film, not in that way.
I just want to watch the story.
Yeah, they're just there for the day. It's like with Playboys. I just read the articles.
I'm here for the chili cheese fries.
Yeah, that would be Joey's. Like, man, have you ever had concessions at the porno theater? Chef kiss. I don't know.
It's like, and what's great about this for your food is you have a place to put your discharge when you're done.
Jesus Christ. Back to you.
I think maybe for this episode, because usually after we're done, I change the age restriction to public after this. I think I might have to leave that on for this week.
Yeah, because this podcast is not meant for kids. Anybody who likes what? I'm sorry, we're not changing the content so the little ones can it's just not.
And it wasn't even really dirty. It was a quick little thing.
They'll be doing it at some point anyway. We're just getting them ready for it.
It's a natural thing.
You know, it's nothing they won't already hear at school. So,
yeah.
But anyway,
yeah.
Back to the ultimate battleground. I will say, like, I've always been fascinated to see more of the battle tram in action because I just thought that, like, the way it's depicted here, and it's at night, which is one of my favorite things about He-Man stories, if they take place at night, and seeing He-Man in the battle tram, and just. You know, the idea is that it takes a while to get to the other towers. Like, if you take the battle tram, you got to take the full monorail to get all the way around. That was kind of like, you know, imagination, you know, kind of coming into effect there. And I just thought it was such a great thing to have, like, action sequences take place. Like, villains jumping on the battle tram when He-Man's trying to get to Grayskull Tower. Because, like in the Revenge of the Snake Man mini-comic, the Grayskull Tower, it's depicted as having, like, a massive interior. Like, you can have windows and stuff like that too, which makes you really feel and Viper Tower is depicted as being this massive tower too. So all this stuff, it feels like it's a great distance away, and there's a lot more in each one of these buildings, and just taking this one particular piece of transportation to get to all of them. I just always wanted to see this illustration of He-Man being attacked by, like, Cobra Khan and Web Store, or they're, like, hanging on to the edge, they're trying to get in, stop He-Man, or they're trying to knock He-Man off of it, or just, like, as it's racing down and people trying to shoot him. Just so much fun to be had with that, and everyone's too busy to draw my ideas. Everyone's doing their own shit.
Yeah, and this one, yeah.
I was going to say, what I like at the end is how He-Man is just like, Skeletor is going to return with more warriors, King Hiss is going to come with more people, Snoutspout, go get everybody else. So it's kind of like, oh shit, there's going to be just this huge, gigantic battle that's going to take place at some point in time.
If I had read that as a kid, in which that line Nathan read always stuck out to me when I read this, it would have made me think, what's the sequel going to be like? You know, like, oh my god, like I
thought that was going to be. Yeah, I was waiting because I thought, oh man, there's gonna be something epic. It's like, oh man, we didn't get that though, because it did. I mean, it was building up like, you better get your warriors. We're gonna get our warriors, and this is the ultimate battleground, and no, didn't happen. But as you know, going more to what you said, Tyler, about how in one of the other mini comics, you know, we got to see more of the interior. This one, it kept it really basic to what we got as the toy, because the only feature you seen with Grayskull Tower was, bam, you trap somebody into that, you know, cell, and then Viper Tower was just turning the thing around. But yeah, the Central Tower, it was the one that got the most play, so I could see why they would show more of that, because it's just making you, again, use your imagination more. But it's simple, it got a point across, it had a fun story, it wasn't super gigantic, it wasn't completely horrible, it was just a good story to basically show what you're buying right here. And I never knew about it being with some figures until years later. And I, for some reason, thought you had the mosquito, or maybe it's something I brought up. I think that's it. I asked you a long time ago on the podcast when I was when you talked about your mosquito. I was like, "Did you get the one with the Eternia?" That's what must have been in my head, because when I found out some of those had, I was like, "Jesus Christ!" Because that's why this one cost so much. That's why when these were, I don't even know what they go for on eBay now, but at one point that mini comic was $100. Yeah, they were at least $100 or more. I was like, are they still that now, or is it down a little bit lower because of the mini comic?
I went on there just for fun over the weekend and looked at men on card vintage figures.
Why would you do that to yourself?
Holy shit,
no,
man.
it's depressing.
I mean, like everything I've got over here, like He-Man
Yeah.
alone, I was seeing for over $1,000.
Yeah, like even
the not the 8-pack, the reissue in 1982. Like holy
but
shit,
even
man.
like the commemorative edition ones are up there too.
Yeah, those are not cheap
Yeah.
either.
Really?
I'll throw
Oh, yeah.
I'll throw this out to you guys. I know that we kind of take a big old shit on Origins line sometimes, but if they were to come out with the towers, and Tyler, Joe, you got it. Tyler, you got 2/3 at least tower wise.
Mm-hmm.
If they were like, okay, we're gonna reissue this, Tyler, would you be tempted at all to buy that?
If they didn't stray too far from Mattel trying, or some goofy exec wants to come in and just rub their dick all over it and make it their own. If it's close to the original, like I don't mind like the Grayskull that got coming out. It's not bad, honestly. It really isn't. If it was like that, yeah, I probably would buy it because it would be a nice display piece. It would, it would be cool to have. I've only got the 2 here. Thanks.
Yeah,
Nathan.
dude. Honestly, I've been looking because I want it. I want to get that last third piece. But for me, if Origins did that, I would be all over it just so I would have a set, even if it's not original, because those eBay prices are way too much.
And I don't, given how He-Man's not popular right now, I'm like, how the hell do Men on Card figures go from 2 years ago to like $50 to $100 to $500 minimum to $1,000? Like, what is pushing the prices? Like the commemorative figures, I'm thinking like $100 for a Men on Card, and some of them were missing the exterior box. It was just the replica card back. I'm like, who is justifying and pushing these prices up for all of this stuff? I mean, it's like some of the cheapest ones were like $150 to $200 were considered cheap in what I was finding. And this is, you name a character, Orko was costing out the ass. My Clamp Champ was going for like $600.
Everything. No, I mean everything. Even just to let you know, modern stuff with even some of those pop vinyl figures and other things, those have skyrocketed. I think since Masters is slowly creeping back and getting more into the public eye, and there are those people that are catching it, whether it's in Walmart or on eBay or seeing these groups, they're getting back into He-Man. And now that they're getting back into it, they're getting that feel for their childhood. Like, man, I'd like to get some of them figures when I was a kid. And of course, now things have skyrocketed. So, I mean, it's good seeing, like I said, Masters getting that vibe again. It's just definitely, if you want stuff from the past, you're gonna be paying a lot of money, and even some of the modern past as well. So it's bizarre, but it's cool to see. But yeah, if they did the Eternia playset again, I'd be curious to what the price would be, because back then it was $89.99. It was either $89 or $99, and sometimes you can get a coupon to get it maybe $5 off. So I'm thinking, would this be like $140? That would be my head, because what's Grayskull, 60 or 50? What is the new Origins?
I think
I thought it was more
I think
than that,
Grayskull was 75. So,
yeah, I remember being close to $80,
Yeah.
like the retail price I saw when they announced it.
So
yeah.
Oh, did they? Well, I know it at least comes with a figure too, but I mean, either way, I'm thinking if they did an Eternia playset, it'd probably be pushing 150 maybe.
I think 150 would probably be a good. That sounds like a good guesstimation on that one.
Well, if they're doing their whole bullshit thing of like we're marketing this towards kids, you're not going to sell a playset for kids at that price point. Like, to pretend like this is not for adults. I mean, we know what's really going on here.
Yeah.
Like so it's like, don't market it knowing that only adults are pretty much going to be able to afford this. Like, not to say that there's parents out there who couldn't do it, but your standard parent is not going to look at a playset like that unless it becomes like the hyped up item that you see on the news. This year for Christmas, the kids want the 3 towers. Like, unless you happen to see something like that.
That reminds me, figure-wise, I'm going to grab something off the shelf while you keep going.
But yeah, I just don't see, a price point beyond. Because I remember the Ninja Turtles place that the Playmates put out a few, like the real tall one, for the 2012 one. That was an $80 playset, and that was a big playset. And I still thought that was. I mean, some places where it was close to $100. And
I wouldn't have a clue. This you're right. I mean, pushing 150 is pushing. I mean, adults would probably be more inclined to buy it. As for trying to like convince, or kids convince their parents, or the parents thinking, should I get this?
But I I think we'd have to look back at like the juggernaut that He-Man was at the time, because when the Eternity playset came out, it came out in '86. '85 was like their peak year, like overall. So I could see them thinking like, okay, we can get more ambitious and have a massive playset. Whereas today, like, man, they're having a hard time getting figures to move off the shelves, let alone playsets. I mean, any of the toy lines we see in toys now or toy stores now, they don't really have playsets. It's either a small, like with the wrestling figures, you know, you get like the small, you know, wrestling ring to go with the He-Man wrestling figures.
Do they even have battery-operated toys for kids these days? A question. I didn't know if they do. Is there things that have batteries? Because
yeah, they do, but I couldn't tell you something right off, but I do know there's some that do require batteries, yeah.
Okay, because it's thought of Attack Track and Spydor and Dragon Walker that if we eventually...
Oh, in terms of like vehicles and things like that, no. I mean, there are toys that require batteries, but vehicles, no. I mean, hell,
hopefully they do it for Origins. If they make them for Origins, I'd hope they'd have it. But what are you going to show us, Nathan, before we get to the chat room with any of their questions?
All right, well, we've gotten some questions before of like, hey, have you guys bought any Mythic Legions figures? Do you own any? I actually bought one, and it came in the mail this week because I probably will never own a Classics Battle Cat. I went ahead and got this guy, so he can just sort of hang out on the shelf with the rest of the Classics. I was actually going on a Big Bad Toy Store to find his proper name on here because I didn't know what the fuck it was. His name, it's Soul Spiller Kawaros.
Could you say that again? I want to hear that again. What would you call it?
Oh, what did I say it wrong, Joe?
No, I'm just being a dick. I think it's Kyle Royce. But either way, it's fucking awesome. And I wanted to say one thing, just to let people know. I did not come up with that concept, because when that figure came out, everybody said, Joe, they stole your Battle Cat, man. No, they didn't. People have been doing Exactly. It's like, people have been thinking of crossover shit for years. And yes, I made a Battle Cat man about 8 years ago. But people have always done this stuff. So no, they didn't look at me and say, hey, Joe did that, I'm going to do it. No, they have a fucking awesome figure that is their unique creation with a unique name. And that is an awesome figure.
It is really not. Well, the one thing I'm going to have to do probably is I might have... What are you laughing at?
Just after you said the name and I did, Grimbot's going to be a dick. He said, yeah, the name rolls off the tongue.
It's very, very convoluted, but I think I'm going to have to either boil the tail here or dip him in there really quick, because his tail is very tough to put in there, so I haven't displayed him with... Yeah.
Do you have a hairdryer?
I do. Do that instead?
Okay, use that. Don't do the boiling method. While it does work, that can mess up the integrity of the plastic throughout time. But using a hairdryer for about 45 seconds into the socket you're using, interchange it. Yeah, that's coming from me. You know I'm not going to steer you wrong. So be careful.
He made me melt my figure. That son of a bitch.
Yeah, but it won't melt.
Laughing like Jim Carrey in Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah, where after the X-Lax part.
Yeah, Nathan's like making faces and and Joe's like,
laughing like crazy.
Yeah.
Shit, but that is an awesome figure.
Yeah,
Nathan.
I like it a lot.
Quickly, I was going to say, chat room, if you have any questions you want to ask us from anything, whether it's the toys, the cartoons, or any other thing, hit it right now. While you do that, Nathan, I'll pass it to you. I don't know if you had any comments or things you would have mentioned from stuff from last week or anything in your head.
I'll have to bring that up. There was a question here already that was asking if we had watched Retro Blasting's video on the depravity of NECA. I have not, but I did see that posted on Facebook.
Yeah, I saw that. I really like a lot of Michael's videos. Like when he's serious, I am 120% in agreement with that. I hate it when he inserts like jokes into his like serious. I'm like, damn it, man! You get such a good tone going. He throws in like this like lame joke. Like, damn it, stop doing it. But I've watched most of his videos at least multiple, at least twice, if not more. Even his stuff on Star Wars. I don't really care for stuff on He-Man because it's all trying to be funny. Except for the one on Golden Books, which he did a pretty good video on the Golden Books. But I love Retro Blasting. I wish he would do one on Bionic 6. He had mentioned doing something like that. But I did see his one on NECA, and he's not too kind about Hasbro, which I kind of feel like is how we are with Mattel. and because he's a big Star Wars and GI Joe fan, stuff like that too. So I can relate to him a lot on his frustration with NECA.
Well, what were the frustrations? Was it more about just like how it is with the turtle stuff that we can't find it in Target most of the time, or
just
how
I think
fragile the figures can be?
To like how fragile the figures are, and wanting people to pay like a lot of money, and expecting people to buy anything because they have the licensing for this particular brand, so they slap it on everything. They can't guarantee that the products are going to be arrive to you safely, and if they break, well, it's they're not meant to be played with. Like, I'm not playing with the damn thing. I'm just trying to set it on my shelf, and it breaks anyway.
I'm just trying to take it out of the box. This snapped off. Yeah.
And it's and then that neck will kind of dismiss, like they're not meant to be played with, or just you have to. I encourage people, if you haven't watched it, go and check out that video, because it was just good, because he's very eloquent with what he says. I mean, he's not Disney for their shitty decisions with Star Wars and various other stuff. But his frustration, which I'm going to continue to buy NECA stuff.
Yeah.
But I am really frustrated with it. I hate now that they're doing pre-orders. They gouge you with the shipping, an extra $20 for shipping. Like, son of a bitch, man.
Well, it's like, if you guys have noticed, maybe you haven't, but over to the left on your screen, I'm pointing at it with my thumb. To the right of me, got that 2-pack of Toka and Razar, and I mean, it looks fantastic. But Tyler said once you included shipping, I think it ended up costing like $90-some. I'm like, yeah.
It wasn't far from 100, dude.
It's rough, but I would rather do that than have to try to drive around and hope to find it at like a Target, or I think those were originally supposed to be Walmart exclusive, I believe. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just I think at this point, these people all, like, if you're gonna put extra stock out, that's great, but if you don't realize the demand for a lot of these 80s toy lines that we're all still talking about, still doing customs of and artwork on and buying anything we can, like, how naive are you people to think that people are not going to want Turtles stuff, G.I. Joe stuff, Transformer stuff based on the Generation 1, He-Man? Like, everyone acts so damn naive about all this stuff. Like, we really didn't know about the demand for this stuff, and we can't help it if all these bots and jerk-offs are buying them all up. Like, I get it's a business. Everything's done a year prior. Like, they make these plans and stuff. But, like, God, dude, use your all, damn research.
Yeah, I don't understand, like, why the distribution is so terrible now compared to how it used to be. Something's lost there. But that could be a conversation that we can do next week when we actually talk about these department stores and memories and such. I guess Joe's about to show one of the customs he's been working on. I see him playing with something.
I did nothing of the
conversation, so he starts playing with something.
I did nothing of the sort. I am not working on any type of customs at all. For you to say that is fucking insulting.
It's Marvin the Manhunter.
We'll see. We'll see what it is. And you fucking put Crackers the Clown, goddammit, down there, Nathan.
He was there last week. He hasn't moved.
What a dick.
Crackers Clown, yeah.
Oh, well, let's get to these fuckers in the chat room. Let's see. Peck said, is there any one of you, Joe, Nathan, or Tyler, that like mini comics better than Filmation's cartoon? He said he does. Well, I mean, of course, there's mini comics that I love, absolutely adore, and there's episodes of Filmation I love, and there's some shitty Filmation episodes and some shitty mini comics. I mean, between them both, you're getting the best of both worlds, but I honestly don't love one over the other, but no, I like mini comics and the cartoon.
I'd probably pick Filmation as number one, and then mini comics would probably be number two on that one because of epics like Clash of Arms and Hordax mini comic and Search for Keldor. Like, those were just epic as hell. But I mean, Filmation classics like Shakoti, House of Shakoti, Dragon's Gift, Disappearing Dragons, list goes on and on and on. So,
and I give it to like the mini comics. They had a little more freedom to be a little darker than the cartoon, which was cool. But the cartoon did have its. I mean, it has a great place. I mean, if it wasn't for the cartoon,
me and Joe say mini comics. We're not including the Force 4 mini comics. So you guys are like doing the whole oh man, it's so barbaric. Like fuck off.
Well, after we talked about that, there was a lot of people whose eyes kind of rolled like, Jesus Christ, I didn't realize it. But yeah, you're making a lot of sense when you look back at it.
Into the same discussion everyone's throwing out there. Well, I got to join in. They're rating their games, and I agree with them too.
Yeah, when they kind of
see how people are about this stuff. When you're not really in the know on this stuff, you just kind of agree with the consensus of what you hear everyone else is saying.
Well, not to agree with the consensus here, but I would probably I'm in the same boat. I would probably put mini comics over Filmation. I've said it before that what always gets me more is like the art of Masters of the Universe, whether it be the mini comics or the magazine posters of the sort. There's something about that just immediately catches my attention. Filmation is fine and it's good and I enjoy it, but I'm more of the art over the cartoon.
Well, that's one thing I feel like because people love to piss the shit out of Filmation, and I just want to like smash their head clean out of their ass. But if there's one thing I feel like you could guarantee somebody's interest to be piqued is showing them like the Earl Norm posters, like those alone, probably even more than the mini comics. You show them something like that, and I kind of find it hard that they're going to have any logical reason to like not want to be. Like okay, you piqued my interest here, like just seeing the battles in those posters. They tell a story, but they're also like, God, this was meant for kids. This was meant for 4 and 5-year-olds. Hell yeah, dude! Like, it goes beyond.
Do you know who else did some great art, Tyler, on those books? Do you know who else did some amazing art? I bet you can't guess.
Five Alama Chile.
Gino Diachile. God damn, does he do some great work, especially for the Trap. Even though the story was shit. God damn, did I have a great cover for the Trap. Have we talked about that? Because we should maybe talk about how that shitty the story is, about how great the artwork is.
I think we did discuss
did we? Oh, we did butcher it.
But, we have to point to Nathan and say, hey, Nathan didn't do it. I mean, we got so many things to revisit.
At some point...
Thanks a lot to everyone who didn't watch our Return of Orko's Uncle last week. I'm pissed off at everybody who did. We need to get 200 views last week because I'm calling all of you out. We got over 600 subscribers, and all you assholes didn't bother to watch it. Like, what the hell were you watching? What were you doing? Were you playing with your wiener too long?
Jesus.
That you just couldn't take time to...
Hang on, look.
Assholes.
No, look, Joe and I talked about this in private, and there is... I've gone to multiple YouTube channels that I'm subscribed to, see their subscriber count, look at their videos when they drop, and there is like a good fall off there. So if we don't have Danielle on blending figures, then we're just not gonna get the views that we need.
Well, speaking of people, let's get to a Megator who has a question. He says, do you guys have any Marvel Legends in your collection? I don't think I do. I know these two probably have tons. A Marvel who? A Legend what?
I have quite a bit, but none of them are on display. They're packed away in totes. Like I have a shitload of Marvel Legends. I even have Red Skull, which.
Oh yes, I knew that was coming.
Which Tyler's extremely happy that I won our fist fight to the death for that figure in the aisle of Walmart.
Yeah, it was either pummel Nathan publicly in front of an old lady or let him have it.
Who grabbed it first?
We grabbed it it was like same time.
Are you shitting? Yeah, you really did?
No, we really did. It was like we both saw it. Like it was back behind like one or two figures.
And you know what? We'll leave it at that. We've told the story before. We'll go into more detail about that next week when we talk about.
We'll do it next week with our toy thing.
It took place in a Walmart, which is a department store stories. But I love Marvel Legends. I was buying them from the very beginning when Toy Biz had the rights, and years later I stopped. Yeah. So now I just buy them sparingly. Like I bought Shang-Chi recently. I bought Better Ray Bill. I want to get the Doctor Doom retro Doctor Doom. I want to get Warpath, and there's some of the Spider-Man retro figures like Mysterio, Green Goblin, Electro. I see them in stores. I just, I don't always have the extra money to pull the trigger on, but I really want to get a bunch of those.
Like I got the Thing, Gambit, Nightcrawler, some of those that stick out. But those people that just go and buy every single one, I'm like, between that and how Hasbro's been, which I feel really sorry for the Star Wars collectors, because the Black Series just seems like, here's another Luke, here's another Han. I'm like, why? Like, these people want X, Y, and Z, and you keep giving them the same shit. These companies, man, these companies. Speaking of which,
well, Daniel Carhoonan says, did you guys watch Lio Convoy's recent video about Super 7 handling the Thundercats toys? I missed that one, but I have watched.
I watched it as well.
I'll have to watch. I watched a couple of his recently. He does great videos. He's very articulate, very insightful, and knowledgeable. And I'll have to watch that. So definitely look that up. Lio Convoy, Super 7, Thundercats toys. Do that after this. Boom! You pop it up on YouTube. You have it, and I'm gonna have to watch it too. So,
but it's
valid points. It's valid points. Like
he always has. He has very good points.
On the podcast before too. I mean, there are things that we've all agreed on, like Super 7 either needs to change their damn model, or they need to stop trying to get a hold of these properties and release these $50 high-end collectibles when they can't deliver, and still want you to pay another $200 4 waves down the line.
And that's the thing. Like, you're waiting so long, and then they announce 3 more waves, expecting you, hey, there's 4 figures in this wave. Even if you do it through Big Bad, it's like $180, $200 to drop, guaranteed now. And that's the thing. They also pull your money out immediately, which we've discussed before is, so on one hand, a good thing because the money's gone, you paid for it, it's done and over with. But at the same time, too, to do that consecutively, like, all right, here's 2 years, here's 4 waves. You just now got the first wave. Waiting on everything else, you're already out at this point. Say, let's go to the Big Bad toy store price. So that's $180. Should I just? I'll bring out the calculator here. So you're doing $180 times 4. They already have $720 of your money. Like, and you're waiting, and you're waiting, and I get people being frustrated by that. It's annoying.
Yeah, and knowing that their first wave of Thundercats was the same figures that a lot of us had already bought. So those of us who are supporting this line had to wait even longer to get different figures. Like, I'm not buying another Panther because he makes a growling face, which looks goofy as hell anyway. But knowing that they botched that, and look how long it took them just to get the same figures that we all had access to years ago, to put those out again. Because I was looking at the second wave was supposed to be delivered this month. I'm like, there's no way in hell, like, because it comes out around Christmas time. Great, I would be charged 200 or 100 because I only got 3 of the 4, but having to be charged like $160, $170 for 3 figures in the month of December when you're buying Christmas presents, paying bills and stuff like that, shit. But that ain't happening because they can't deliver. They can't deliver anything on time.
And then you have the issue with some people having issues with their figures quality-wise. And I personally haven't had any problems with anything that I've gotten from Super 7. But other people have, and I know that they've also had to go through hoops, and the QA's sometimes very questionable on all that stuff. So it's like Tyler said, you gotta... Maybe they have bitten off more than they can chew in terms of all the properties that they have under their belt. I mean, I don't know. Like, none of us are in that business, so it's like, what?
No, and it's not like we're trying to pretend like we know what's really going on, but when you clearly see they're putting out the little trinket junk shit with, like, solid color, like stuff that comes in little cans, and it's like $20 for this little can of little small rubber figures or the reaction stuff. They churn that shit out all the time, no problem. But it's all the $50 figures, like the Conan figures, look like shit. But the one based in the comic book looked awesome. The Toxic Crusader looked awesome. But it took almost a damn year to get one figure. Yeah. It's something's not adding up here. And look how long it took us to get our He-Man figures. Those movie figures, we almost took us a full year. They told us August.
Yeah.
And it was almost a full year of prepaying for those movie figures before we finally got them, which is what I was expecting. Just like there's no way in hell they're going to deliver on that because they never deliver on what they say.
I mean, like, what direction do you go in? Do you push back announcing anything? I feel like that would, but also they work on how many pre-orders they get basis. It's not like it's a super mass-produced, I'll put them out there and see if they sell sort of thing. They base it more off of
But I
pre-order.
feel like when the problems are constantly happening, if they cannot deliver the very first wave that you purchase, whether it's He-Man or Silverhawks or Thundercats, whatever it is, and if you can't deliver that first wave and build up confidence that you're going to deliver these things on a certain time, and thinking that maybe $200 is not big to them, but to a lot of us, that's a lot of money. That pays for several bills, and when you're telling us we have to pay it now by this certain point, on top of Turtle Classics, Thundercats, all these other things that they want $200 in advance for. It's a nausea. It's frustrating, and makes it even more when they can't deliver the goods, and that you're still waiting. I mean, we're 4 waves into Thundercats, and people are just now getting the first one, and it's all fucked up.
Yeah.
So it's just I really feel like they got no business announcing anything until they can, like, hey, here's the first wave, it's great, and then next month we're going to announce the pre-orders. It's just it's too damn much, and they cannot fulfill any of these promises, and we're just all expected to, like, oh, just deal with it. Well, you know what? Because we don't have a choice. You've already got our money.
Yeah.
So it's I don't know. I remember it's just. I wish things would be different, and I'll pre-order every Thundercat they throw out because I'm just that desperate to get more Thundercats. But I'm frustrated as hell with how Super 7 does business.
Well, Zen Brown has a question for you, Tyler.
Thanks for your thought there, Joe. I appreciate
it. Zen Brown said,
Joe just kind of
it kind of looked like he was there for a minute.
Yeah. Because we know Joe don't care about Thundercats. Because, like, what's a Thundercat?
No, I don't have many to collect any of the stuff you guys are talking about, so I couldn't add no input because I was like, I don't collect them. That's all. If I had the money, believe me, I'd love to get all that stuff.
I'm sure that
don't.
You would,
Joe. See, there you go. And Zen Brown said, hey, Tyler, we know how much you love Clash of Arms, but how did you feel about Fisto's portrayal in Secret of the Dragon's Egg? And we've discussed that many times, but what did you think about it?
There's everything's great. Secret of the Dragon's Egg. I mean, Fisto was a badass in it, and taking on Goatman and Beastman, and his tag team with Stridor, which was awesome to see that again. So I thought Fisto was portrayed very, very well. Everyone was in that comic. Whiplash was, and Merman was. Skeleton. I mean, everybody. The Golden Books treated all the evil warriors with dignity. All the heroic warriors were badasses. Other than a couple of dud stories, overall, I mean, Golden Books, they treated it like they're not talking down to us as kids. Like, if we were all shown these guys were all epic. There wasn't a sore spot or like, oh God, this character sucks. Like, no, it ain't like that with He-Man. It's just not. So that's why I take offense, literally, when people want to shit on any of these characters. But yeah, Fisto was top notch. Secret of the Dragon's Egg. It's definitely one of the top 5 Golden Books, hands down.
It is a good one. Because we'll even mention sometime about some of the bad ones. We already had mentioned one, but
I think there's more good ones than bad ones, honestly, with Golden Books, and that includes the hardcover books and the softcover books. Like, there's very few bad ones, honestly. Even like Mask of Evil, which the artwork on the inside's not very good, but I still enjoy the story a lot, and the cover art's stunning. But, I mean, the trash...
Yeah, I can honestly say I don't think there's any... I mean, honestly, there's not any of those covers that looked bad. Now, the interior for some might have been kind of painful on some, just as some of the... Well, the stories might not have been that great, but I loved the covers of all of them. And I think that one of them, like, when we were talking about some that are bad, what's sad is one of the hardest to get is Power from the Sky. Great cover, but boy, and that's what's weird. But it's one of the hardest to find. I don't know if it was one of the. It was, I think, an '86 release, and I don't know how many were released in '86. The others ones were like '84 and 80, '85, and I think even like A Hero in Need was '86. But that story wasn't that great. That was another one where amazing cover, but yeah, it's a dud of a story. So they have their duds there. But all right, I think we had another question from JSP. I think I might have one or a couple. We can always find some. But he says, can you show pictures next week for some of the old catalogs like Service Merchandise, Sears, Montgomery Wards? Those are God. And I wish I would have them now because I think along with the figures, if you go to eBay and you try to find any of those Christmas catalogs or something for any of those stores. It was like $50, $80
Really?
for a catalog. I'm like,
Really?
Jesus.
That's
Yeah,
insane.
and I remember, what's sad is I remember, as a kid, it was cool to look at over and over, but eventually it hit the trash pile. God, I wish I would have saved them because there's so many cool little fucking ads, but I think I might have one.
Displays for He-Man and various other toy lines. Like, I mean, the companies would set up some amazing looking displays in those catalogs. Like, and just going in Google search, like Google search 83, 84, 85. They put these epic backdrops behind the castles for He-Man.
I'll try to get a collection of pictures from catalogs, maybe just random stuff for that discussion next week. Yeah, that'll be good because the Sears catalog was like the thing. That thing would come in the mail and like, oh holy shit, what all's in here? And I would go and like circle stuff. I want this, especially with the video games too. It wasn't just action figures. I'm like, oh yeah, the video games, and I would see stuff in there. I'm like, oh, this is coming out. This is out? I gotta go to the store.
I don't know how many old. I mean, I collected, as for like magazines, I had almost every video game subscription you can think of, and a lot of crazy shit that was in those I can't even really find like online. Like, you can usually search to look for an old tip or a trick or a little picture. Some don't have that, or clear images. Like, I know that many people don't remember a lot of the stuff that was on the Sega Master System, but they were going to have Alex Kidd Shinobi World. They did release that, but early pictures showed him battling the first boss, because it was like Alex Kidd but Shinobi and mixed. He was going to fight somebody, and he was going to be called Mario, because that was like Alex Kidd against Nintendo's mascot. And they had it spelled a certain way, with a hyphen in his look. But when the final design came out and the game came out, they had to switch it up. They couldn't get away with it. Well, needless to say, when you try to research it online, all you see is like blurry images. Like, God, I got crystal clear fucking, magazines with that. It's weird. It's bizarre. But a question from G Funny, and I didn't know if you knew. Well, G Funny, you're going to find out here. G Funny says, anyone here against buying modern toys? He said, sounds like most of you collect or at least have bought recently made toy lines. He says, I just can't get behind them. Well, if you're going to ask about that, I get some of the Origins, which, yes, there's some I don't like, but I could pass that to Tyler. If you're talking about people not buying modern toys, Tyler hates the Origins, so he ain't going to buy that shit.
I mean, but when you say modern toys, too, you're talking like Marvel Legends and all that stuff, which we do collect.
The NECA stuff. And me, Nathan, we help each other out, or mainly he helps me.
But
out
it just depends on what it is. Like, I'm not.
So there's things you don't buy that are modern.
There's plenty of stuff like the some of the Transformer stuff. They have like varying lines on there. I'm like, no, I only want specific things from here, like that Red series. The Red series for Transformers, that's fantastic, but that's a Walmart exclusive. So you run through all those hoops. But yeah, I get modern stuff, but I'm not gonna just go out and get it has to be specific.
Yeah, and it needs to be reminiscent of the vintage stuff. Like someone who just wants to come in and throw in a shitty redesign of Soundwave and some bullshit Transformers line. Like, no, I don't want that shit. Like, it needs to look like Generation 1, either based on like the toy design or the cartoon, because that's always it's not just because it's the cool thing. Like, no, because that's what I like. I will buy Transformer stuff if it's very close to the original designs. I'll buy G.I. Joe. It doesn't look like Sigma 6 shit and some of the other goofy attempts they did. It needs to look a lot like the old stuff, because it's not because it's old, it's because that was the definitive look. That goes for He-Man, Ninja Turtles, Thundercats, G.I. Joe, Transformers, any other toy lines. There is a modern stuff. Marvel Legends is great, because they are getting deeper and deeper, and I have to cherry pick because I just don't have the budget to buy a bunch of them, as many as I would like. There's a bunch of
and X-Men if they'd release some more goddamn Jason figures, get them from Part 8. Jesus, that's if they get rid of that lawsuit and we could get Jason from Part 8 and do some other shit. And like, yeah, I'd buy them. So yeah, I get modern stuff, some things, but not everything.
Well, G-Fun,
if there was more stuff out there to buy, that would be. We could say, yeah, I'll buy everything modern, but ain't the case anymore.
With that, G-Funny says, so with that said, how do you determine what to display and what to hide in the closet? I go with the intention of buying any of that stuff to display. Now, the Origins line that I did get, those are all in the closet because I have the vintage displayed. I have the classics displayed. but I still wanted to support the line. I saw them, and I was like, if I don't get these, I might have buyer's remorse. So I went ahead and got them, but
And it comes to room,
yeah.
too. Yeah, I mean, you're right, but Nathan, you're right. It always comes to the room because on that side, I used to display all the Playmate Simpsons figures. But then when the classics came out and some other stuff, I had to put those in totes into a closet. But otherwise, I'm always under whatever I'm going to buy, I'd like to put out and display. But you eventually run out of room. It's like, God damn, I don't know what to do. That's why some things do make it into the closet, or you really got to try to be creative with the way you display stuff in room when you don't have much.
And he says, then why get them if not to display? And that's yeah, you're right. That's the only thing. The origins of the only thing I've bought in a long time, really, that didn't go on display anywhere. Now, there's stuff that I bought and displayed, and then I moved, and I haven't got a chance to put them somewhere else. But I have space downstairs, so I need to go through all my stuff and be like, all right, this will get displayed here, this will do that. So the intention is to do that, or sometimes you just fall out of stuff, like Star Wars, prime example. Like, I would have some of that stuff out and displayed, and then, like, I go through phases where I lose interest with it, and I'm like, all right, well, I'll take these down and put them away, put something else in its place. So you just go through all kinds of different stuff, but I see what you're getting at, and that could be asked of a lot of collectors. Like, why do you buy this if the intention is not to display? But you can go even further down the hole. It's like, why do some people just buy stuff and keep it mint on card? Why not just, as Matt Cardona says on their major wrestling figure podcast, let them breathe. Let them breathe, display them.
A lot of people do have it a lot of people do want to buy it to where they're hopefully that in the future it gets a lot of value and can sell. I mean, I know a lot of people that collect like that.
I mean, but I feel like so much modern stuff, like it doesn't look good on card anyway. I mean, some people do put together some really good packaging for a lot of the modern toys. Most of them are not, though. And I almost feel like if it's not like high demand stuff like the stuff NECA puts out that's turtle related, or this like the stuff that Super 7's put out, or any of the classics, God, man, or the G.I. Joe collector's subscription line, like all that shit it's modern stuff, but people want an arm and a leg for it. And I'm like, how the hell is that?
Well, that's the thing. A lot of them don't get, like, they'll try to get a price and they don't get it, but they're in hopes that in the future they can get it. And what's bizarre is you never know. That's the one thing. There's figures that were in the past that you thought could be absolute horse shit and dog shit, and then somehow now they just attract such a high value because there was a limited amount. People didn't want them. So people now are buying modern stuff in hopes of, hey, I hope in the future I can get money. I've seen endless collections of people where, you're right, they have them just stacks, all in closets, in boxes. I mean, like thousands of figures. And I mean, hell, that's their prerogative. But yeah, a lot of them, they're not ever intending on opening, displaying. They just want to resell. But yeah, if I had the space in the room, everything I would buy would be in the intention of, like you said, I'd like to open them, display them. Or for those who had the room, leave them all mint on card. But if it's for you, cool to have them all displayed, but a lot of people do want to resell in the future, and it'd be great if they can, but I've seen so many people, they get stuck with shit. How many, like, I think it was, what was all that bizarre shit that it was like in the 90s, and it was when KB was getting cleared out. They had so much overstock, and then when I was going to some of these flea markets, every fucking flea market just had tons of certain kind of Spawn or other things that, like, just nobody was wanting. Just so much overstock of shit.
There's so many toy lines back in the late,
just tons.
Like the mid to late 90s that KB.
Yeah.
I mean, I think of like the various like Toy Biz, Marvel superhero lines they were putting out that no one was buying.
Starting lineup. Sorry, had something in my throat.
There's another one.
They're not worth dick.
The Spawn figures were
not
out
worth
the ass.
I hate that too. But I was collecting starting lineups just because I was super into sports, and those were ones that I had. I had loose ones displayed on a shelf that I had, like particular rookie cards or autograph cards, like in the hard casings. I had those displayed on a shelf and had starting lineups loose on there, but I also had them carded and hung up on the wall around that. So like one wall was football, one wall was baseball, the other one was basketball. So I get all sides of the spectrum. But go ahead, Tyler, talking about all those lines that weren't worth shit then and are not worth shit now.
Yeah, I mean, one of my favorite toy lines is the Marvel superheroes line that Toy Biz did back in the early like 1990 or 89, where they had the Marvel Training Center, and they had like Green Goblin, Doctor Doom, Doctor Octopus, Annihilus, all four of the Fantastic Four, Cap, Spider-Man, Venom. All those figures are dirt cheap. Like they're not hard to collect, but I mean that toy line's 30 years old, and you can buy a lot of those men on card for like less than $20. So I'm not quite sure how people can. I don't quite get it, but I just think of like the Ghost Rider toy line that was being carried in KB at that time, which I kept like wanting to collect, but they didn't have the ones I wanted, so I wouldn't buy any of them. There was like Star Wars was putting out Powers of the Force stuff, and then when like the Phantom Menace came out, you couldn't get rid of that shit. There was stuff all over the stores. They were doing like dolls of like Spider-Man playing soccer and scuba diving and shit like that. Like, who's buying this shit?
It's like all the dumb shit. It's like, oh, here's Superman on a motorcycle. Why would he need that? He doesn't need that.
Yeah.
He can fly. Like stupid shit like that. I don't know.
They just had no creative thinking, and it's not that I didn't want to buy toys, but there just wasn't a whole lot. And God, there was Star Trek stuff. There was they were bringing back the G.I. Joe 12-inch stuff in stores. Yeah. I'm like, oh man, that stuff's lame. Give me Real American Hero, and that stuff be cluttering up the shelves. And then of course 2000X comes along and Smash Blade and Spin Blade. Oh God, every KB in America. It was just distribution and no originality. Like I just people were still buying toys because I was noticing that time people were collecting toys and
there was just a lot of excess stuff though. And I should get some pictures.
The Toy Liquidators, which was like an off-brand of KB. I mean, I went to one of those with Nathan one time.
No. I feel like the flea markets around here are those because the amount of stuff, every vendor in this one place that we have around here called Storm and Norman's, if there is a toy section, they're all flooded with that 90s shit. Every one of them, and they just can't sell them. Nobody wants them even now, so they're flooded.
I remember. This makes you think there are a few Roses in existence. I had no idea.
But a long time, it's not the Roses that we knew. That's basically they have the same business model now that Magic Mart did, where it's just their upper tier guys go to like these business shows, so there's like all kinds of vendors there like, hey, put in an order to buy this shit. Like their whole thing is just completely it's something. I don't know what happened along the way, but Roses now is not even I don't even know why they still call it Roses, because it's not. They completely changed the distribution. It's basically like a bulk warehouse. Because if you go down their toy aisle, it's just a bunch of old shit, and it's just a bunch of bulk, and that's it. Like, it's nothing. It sucks. It sucks.
I can't. This the only reason I bring this up is because I thought this was so cool, but sad at the same time. Is there was and it's still there in North Myrtle Beach, and I was like, oh my God, I have to go in there. I really thought I was gonna like walk in there and find like a Rotom Minton box or something like that. But I went to the toys. They actually had the X-Men 2099 toy line on shelves in there. And I'm like, son of a bitch.
Good God.
That toy line's from the early 90s, and it was right there on. We're talking like the mid 2000s, like 2005 or 6 or 7. And I just, it was like, I'll never forget that. And
there's probably just some like bum that has like some shitty company somewhere. He went to this thing and like the Roses execs were coming. It's like, hey, I got all these toys. I'll sell them to you at this price per pallet. And they're like, yeah, you got a deal. And that's what's on there. It's just a bunch of old shit that nobody wanted, and no one still wants.
I'm going to get some pictures next time I go to Storm and Norman and show you the shit I have. And Adam will answer your question before we wrap it up. He just want to say one day he was looking to see what is Masters of the Universe related online for sale. He said he's seen these giant He-Man and Skeletor figures made from Mexico. He said what made them unique? Those are the hollowed out figures. They have He-Man, they had Skeletor in multiple different sizes as well in giant form. They also had Webstore, Zodak, that shit show Stratos, and a couple others. God, the one last thing I want to mention. I'm going to mention this before we wrap it up. They have these little clip bag things that I was never collecting, but I've seen
bag?
it. Yeah, clip bag.
Right now.
That's right. No, so they had these little clip things, and they were in the bags, and the clips of Master Universe, and you don't know what you're gonna get. They're normally like $5-6. Well, there was $1.50 clearance at one of the stores I was at the other day, and of course, who do I get? Fucking Stratos. It's just terrible.
I mean,
so that's it. All right,
that happened. Yeah. What is that black dot behind you over there?
Oh, I told Grim that's a screw hole. I mean, it's a screw that's in the wall. There was a hole where I had something else hanging. I took it off, so that's just a screw that you're seeing right there above snout spout. It's a end of a screw head. So, but that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. So people who are new to this show, make sure you like, subscribe, share, and ring that bell so you can always be notified when we go live. And until next time, have a powerful day.
Your brother's yellow, and I'm gonna kill him.
What do you say? Wait, what was that?
I said your brother's yellow, and I'm gonna kill him.
Brother's yellow, and I'm gonna kill him. Okay, what movies had brothers?
What movies had?
Double Impact.
No.
Double Impact. Okay.
No.
Anyone else getting the vibe that Joe was getting kind of antsy because I think he wants to go play with himself again? He was talking about it so much on the show. He's like, I got some things to take care of.
Oh man, that sounds kind of good. Like I haven't done that in the last 5 hours. It's like you need to hurry up. Get on with your Super Southern rant. I got business I got to take care of, man.
We're gonna see if somebody gets
Joe was like looking at like a 1990s Victoria's Secret catalog.
No.
It's
no,
no,
it wouldn't be that. It would be the Sears catalog because you know how it also had the bras
Sears,
and stuff.
Yeah, Victoria's Secret. That's too good for Joe. Joe would be using Sears. Yeah.
Yeah, the lingerie catalog.
That's all wrinkled up and craggly, from dry bits on there.
Well, nobody has got it yet. It's been about a 30-second delay. I'll give 10 more seconds. If nobody gets it, then you're going to have to give us that one. I
can't believe Nathan doesn't know
dude, you know how I am with movie quotes. Some of them, I'm just like, I immediately know what it is. And other ones, I'm like, yeah, I should have known that, but I don't.
Yeah. No holds barred.
Jesus.
Time's up. Oh, did he say no holds barred?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what Zeus says.
Oh, when he was talking to the punk kid
Randy,
or something?
The obnoxious
can
kid.
you make the noise when he chokes him?
I can't.
Oh, come on, man. Come on. I know you can.
It never sounded like it anyway.
It doesn't matter. Just do your version of it.
No, I'm not going to embarrass myself on here. I do it enough as it is.
Well, I tried.
Well, I don't think you can top my embarrassment that I said earlier. So go ahead. You can make the sound. Do it. You can do it. God damn it.
But that's the thing. Like I don't sound like Zeus grabbing Randy by the neck and that's what I would do. That just a little bit louder. Nathan just thought it's a bad impression.
No, it's not because you get all bug-eyed and you like go through the thing where it looks like you're actually grabbing him, and I see the intensity in your face. That's what made it funny.
I was worried it was going to sound like Josh's Jack Nicholson impression.
Oh my God! Don't do that again. Yeah, from A Few Good Men. Yeah, that was pretty bad.
Yeah,
that was really fucking bad. Like
all of us, the car just gets silent.
Yeah, he thought he was gonna blow us away, and no one said shit. And I think eventually, either I laughed because no one said anything, or we just changed the subject. I don't remember which one it was.
Yeah, I think we changed the subject. Then we saw a raccoon get decapitated by an 18-wheeler.
Right?
It was trying to. Sorry, it was. We're on the interstate driving. This raccoon just comes out of nowhere,
to look for toys
and I'm just like, oh shit! And then like it's just going. You think it's gonna make it, and then like this 18-wheeler comes by, and you just see it just explode. It looked like fucking animal confetti. I mean, it was just everywhere.
Did the head fly on your car?
No, nothing hit my car, but it just there wasn't even a head, Joe. It just all exploded. It like bit.
We saw a big chunk. Like a big chunk of the raccoon and fly up into the air in front of us. I mean, we saw the whole thing.
It went probably a good 20, 30 feet in the air. Just like meat firework or something, It just exploded. Yeah. And then we didn't say anything for 15 minutes. We all just sat in silence.
Yeah, we laughed really hard, and then we all got depressed because, oh my God, that poor raccoon.
We thought he was going to make it.
It's just something.
The end of the show. Yeah, that's a neat way to end the show.
That's what you're going to get on here. You never know what you're going to get on this podcast. You're going to get your He-Man, but you're going to get a little extra bang for your buck.
Almost like Grimbot said. Yeah, Grimbot said, it's making me hungry. That does. It sounds delicious. You get a fried all that.
Joe's like, did you at least get some off the road?
Did you fry it
Whatever
up with
landed
some
on the
butter?
hood?
Did you eat it later?
Yeah,
That's-
or slice some cheap, was it Texas Pete? Hot sauce.
Everything works great. But
What a show.
all right, guys, see you next time.